We're live.
Oh boy.
This time we have Lightning with us as our guest. Welcome, Lightning, to Grannies Gossip, where we talk about Prismata, hopefully. Uh, Sometimes we don't, but we really should. Um, but
Thanks
yeah,
for having me.
I think we're just essentially gonna start with first. I think the December. Actually, okay, no. Let's see. Um, One thing I just wanted to the few things that just small, really unimportant, but new art in Prismata. Like they've added completely new art to the whole campaign thing. If you haven't noticed it, it actually looks really awesome. The one thing there doesn't seem to exist yet is a next mission button after you finish a mission. Um,
Yeah, that does not exist.
I'm not
So,
sure why that doesn't exist. That really should exist.
yeah.
I think people will get really annoyed having to go back to the main menu, select next mission, finish, go back. No, but they've added like small art changes, like the queue uh, animation while you're in queuing for ranked. There's like two swords rather than like the purple box thing now. They've added like the percentages for the Black Lab cards. They've added a whole unit list with all of the information on the same page as the campaign is, which is actually really useful for new players. I like that addition, I guess. Um, but other than that, like it's just some small art adds. I think there might be something else I'm forgetting. Um, the one change that's like fairly big but not related to units that we haven't covered is the arena into rank transition, and essentially there's no more you know nine strikes and you're out or whatever it was before. Seven strikes and you're out. Sorry.
Seven.
Yeah, now it's just like three losses, or I mean three wins, and yeah, GG. Um, so yeah, any thoughts on that? I don't know. I'm
Um,
Uh,
I like the new art. I just looked at it. The new art for the single player stuff. It looks
yeah.
cool. And I personally don't like the new ranked mode as much, but I think it's fine. It's not bad. It's just I prefer the old one. But it's fine.
Yeah,
Looks like Lightning felt the same way.
Dolan had like some complexity changes where it was just like so much stuff, right? There was like piles upon piles of things that just weren't like completely understandable just from looking at it.
yeah, I
But
completely agree. The
then
old
on
one was too complicated.
yeah, but then on the other hand, the current system is like, why do we need tickets? Why can we only win three times in a row? It just seems so unnecessarily complex. It's not complex, but the complexity that it has just seems unnecessary, if that's understandable. Like, either just keep it ranked or do the ticket system. Right now it's like doing ranked, but somehow implementing tickets for no apparent reason.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
the tickets still influence, I think, the number of random units, right?
I
So
think they do.
Yeah,
there's
and
still
They
that
also
severity.
functionality.
they still impact the rewards, but like, have they made like the tickets stronger, or have they just decreased the cost? I wasn't actually paying attention to that part. Um,
They decrease
It depends
the
how
cost
often you win.
of the tickets, I think.
I mean, don't you
But
just
the
win three times in
tickets
a row? Like, cause it's three wins and you finish a ticket.
Right, but like compared to the old system,
I
I
guess.
think a plat ticket, for example, is way less cost efficient than
Now,
an old one where you win
yeah,
10
exactly.
games on it. But
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Essentially, I mean, I guess I'm only looking at it as from like the top player's perspective, where you would always like get a lot of wins when you go for like a plat ticket. Whereas now it's essentially just even for every single player. The only unevenness is actually the streak rewards, which I'm a huge fan of. Um, I love being able to see the streak I'm on, like, oh, am I on 7 wins? Oh, I'm on 9 wins, right? Next win I get a reward or whatever, right? And that's actually a really cool component. I love that. I hope they keep that in no matter what they do. Um, but the tickets themselves feel really unimpactful, I guess. They feel so small compared to before, right? Because it's just like, oh, now it's a gold border, now it's a platinum border. There's no like risk involved with a ticket, right? So it just feels less eventful. You're always going to get the same amount of value out of it. I guess you get a bit more if you win 3 in a row rather than like losing some games in between, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure how much more that actually is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, as
I think it's fine though.
the
Yeah.
I mean, again, you also keep saying 3 wins. It's not necessarily just 3 wins, right? It's still a point system, so depending on what
Oh,
speed
right.
you're
It's
playing,
like seven.
it can
It's
be
7 strikes.
Right,
yeah.
it's still
So
7
yeah, it's still 7.
points,
So
I guess. And
yeah.
you get 3
So I
points for
mean,
the normal
so the
thing.
other thing to keep, I don't know if anybody has tried like playing shorter times for your first 3 wins, like 20-second, 30-second matches, and then increasing to kind of go over the 7, right? Get to 6 and then get 3 on your last one. I don't know if that
Yeah,
actually makes a difference to your rewards, but there's
I'm not sure either.
probably some changes there that people haven't really looked at.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's other things that have changed as well. Obviously, they modded the Black Lab since we've had one of these. So,
yeah.
Black Lab is significantly different now. Uh,
Oh,
so,
yeah. I don't know about. I like the new one more than the previous one. Um, I mean,
I still just don't like it as a whole, the whole Black
yeah,
Lab
it's.
system.
you're not a fan?
To be honest, I've become like less and less of a fan of it, like as time has gone on, just because it's again kind of almost unnecessary complexity where like you're locking skins behind so much time, right? First, you have to play a game for a long time to just get normal cores if you're like an average casual player, and then you're gonna have to like get so many of those cores, and then you're gonna get like one Black Lab ticket, which is just like one Black Lab ticket. It gives you like one reward out of like 100 or plus or however many there are, right? So there's
It's
so
not
many.
that hard to get them.
I mean, not for us that actually spend a lot of time playing, but I mean, okay, Prismata will never have like a truly casual player base, probably, but there's definitely gonna be players that play like a few hours a week, right? Maybe five
But
hours a
there,
week
I mean,
maximum or so.
it's not like all skins are locked behind
No,
the
they're
Black
not
Lab
all,
either.
but so many
So,
of
I
them
mean,
are, and it's probably all the best ones, right? So unless they add like an option of buying the skins directly, I think they will be missing out on a lot of potential customers. Because I know a lot of people would rather just buy a skin even if it's overpriced just because they like it so much, whereas not a lot of people would feel okay spending so much time getting to that point, right? Some people just, oh, I really want this skin now, I like this unit, rather than like spend a month grinding, right, and then trying to get that one skin. I mean,
and then
it's
you might not even roll it. You might not even get a chance to win it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like
So,
at that point, you just like spend all your shards, because that's like the only thing you can do. Uh, but
I
that's still
actually
like,
I like the new Black Lab more because you get more tickets and like the problem with the old one was that you
no,
could
it's definitely better than the old one.
Yeah.
yeah like there was a lot of variance because you could just get nothing. Um, and
you're
the
guaranteed
flips cost
something
more.
now.
But now, like no matter what, like every time you flip, you get something, and you can keep on flipping for as many shards as you have until you get everything or run out of shards.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, and there's no
I kind
there's
of like it.
no drawback, so to speak, for choosing to flip again. Like, so if you roll a set that you really like, that there's no negative side to deciding to flip again. It does the one thing I do miss is the chance to win them all right? They
Yeah.
removed the chance to win them all. That was always pretty
Yeah.
exciting. So the loss of that is,
I mean, it was like the thing is that was just so high variance. Get nothing or get everything, and it's just
yeah, of
the
course.
difference between like value between those two things are just were insane, right?
Yeah.
So I like that there isn't like as huge of a gap. That's nice. Still, like the tier 6 skins are almost impossible to get unless you actually pay. But yeah, we'll see how it goes from here. I don't know. I think we might be like biased because I presume all of us actually play the game much more than an average player.
For sure.
So we're obviously biased here into as to how we see how easy or how hard it is to achieve something. Especially like a lot of us have also gotten a lot of shards from like tournament performances as well, right?
True.
The PAWC, Masters League, stuff like that, right? Lord of the Swarms, which we're gonna get to later, and all of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'll wait and see. I like it much more than the previous one. I wonder if Lunar has any other plans, or if this is their like, this is it. But yeah. Now then, on to the unit changes that have happened since the previous Grannies Gossip. Like, this is the meat of this podcast. And
There's quite a lot of them.
yeah. I think we should just start with the December patch. Because
Do we want to skip over units that have been reset, or do you want to talk about the units that were reset? For
I-
example, Lance Tooth was
no, I
changed
think
and
we
then
can like we
changed.
can just talk about those units in the most recent patch. I just want to go over like, okay, Theaterna is small nerf. Was it necessary? In your guys' opinion? I haven't.
Wasn't a bad nerf.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad nerf. I agree.
It was
Um,
fine. It doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
funny thing. Like a lot of the times, a 1 gold nerf would make a unit like much worse. Where with Tia, it's actually like I don't think I've seen much of an impact.
I mean,
When it first got changed, it was like, oh, 7 gold, man. I'm not buying that unit.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's exactly what it.
Is the impact is still just as strong. I'm
mean-
still kind of like
Tia is still pretty much an all-in unit, so
Yeah.
by the time you're investing in it, if it does it really matter if it costs one more
yeah,
gold?
exactly. The
It's
1 gold difference usually doesn't
does
matter
matter.
if
It does
can
matter,
end
but I'm
again.
just like, that 1 gold makes all the difference in the world.
I mean,
And gold's a
sometimes
big
it
deal in
can.
Prismata.
That 1 gold could be like a Nivo charge that you can purchase, right? And that Nivo charge is like 5 pressure versus an energy matrix, and then you just win the game. Or you can't.
Over the 1 gold. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, 1 gold is a big deal, but again, on a unit that is really so game altering, 1 gold is really, I mean, I don't know. I think that's why nobody really feels that strongly about the nerf one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
definitely a
it's fine.
nerf, but it doesn't kill the unit.
I think the next change is probably the most impactful change of that whole set of changes. The Dynamo nerf.
Yeah.
10 to 8
That's
HP.
actually the one that most people were asking for, though. That was the one that, as far as that was the exact change that a lot of people were asking for.
I was a big proponent of 8 HP rather than 9 HP, and looking at it like play out until now, I'm not sure if I actually should have been as big of a proponent of 8 HP rather than 9 HP,
Yeah,
because
nine
You miss
might be
your
right.
all-in, you miss your all-ins.
I don't know, not that. I just feel like I wasn't expecting the tank to go down as much as it did. But I
Yes.
guess overall, like, if you look at the HP that was lost with 4 dynamos, it's another dynamo with 8 HP, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy how much power just 2 HP change can actually make to a unit that was like a breach-proof all-in. On the other hand, though, I still feel like there are a lot of really strong breach-proof units. Cluster Bolt has remained unchanged and extremely strong. Venge has received a buff, which might not be the best combo with Thorium Dynamo, but it's still a breach-proof unit. Wild Drone's getting nerfed, or got nerfed, but later. There's still like a lot of a steady cannon I got slightly nerfed later. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's like maybe 9 was the sweet spot. I'm not unhappy with 8. I still think it's a fine unit, and you can still go breachproof with it. But I might just be wrong here. Like,
I think I like it at 8 more than 9. We haven't played with 9 actually, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy with where it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, the 1 HP difference can also be pretty significant here, right? Because 8 seems attainable to kill in one turn, right? Whereas
Yes.
once you get into 9, 10, means that you probably can't kill one per turn. So I mean,
yeah, that's
8,
actually a big thing where it's like just combinatorics. Because if with dynamos, if you hit like currently, if you hit 7 damage, you're like killing a gas cannon or nothing. If you hit 8 damage, you're killing 5 drones and a conduit. There's obviously a huge difference between that 1 damage and like 10 was definitely too high because hitting 10 on one turn was extremely hard, right? Early enough where it would matter, essentially. Whereas with 8, it is achievable. But again, how much has this change actually impacted like the strength of just like thorium breachproof?
I think it's a huge amount. Like Breach Reef was like the thing to beat before this patch, and now I rarely see Dynamo Breach Proof win. I think it was just
Yeah,
it's like just the biggest change of the patch and huge for the meta.
I agree, but I like it this way. I just wasn't the biggest fan of Breachproof before.
Yeah, Dynamo Breach Proof got real boring real fast, so
Definitely
it was a
completely
fine
agree there.
change.
Um, Next change on the list, Grenade Mech. I know a lot of players didn't like this change. A lot of, I'm like kind of happy with the change. I'm really happy with the change because the old Grenade Mech, or like the previous Grenade Mech, sometimes felt really boring because you would just be trading resources, right?
yeah, I mean, the old
Yeah, it
grenade
did
mech,
for sure.
you clicked every time without fail, and that was what you did. And at least now, you don't click every time
Yeah, there's
necessarily.
a decision. I like that it pushes it into a niche, right? Like after that change to like just click sack a blast forge, right? Grenade mech essentially just became an all-around efficient unit. And with this change again, or like before that, and with this change, it it actually fills a niche where you get it nearing the end of games, where it's actually like the pixies are worth more than a pixie should be worth, right? Because the pixie is essentially killing drones rather than just engineers, or it's killing maybe even a Tarsier or like
Well, it's
damage.
more like the three pixies are worth more than a Blast Forge plus a gold
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like I mean, yes,
at a certain point in the game.
exactly. It just like pushes it into more of that niche, and I like that with units in Prismata where they're specialized, which we're gonna get to later. Or I guess we can just start talk about it now because I hate segregating it. But like the new Deadeye change. You guys have anything to talk about it? Because all I want to say is I like that that it's a niche unit. I know it's not exactly strong. I like it that way because as soon as you make Deadeye strong, it just becomes like a buy in a lot of sets, and I hate that with units where it's just like this is a unit I buy in like 60% of the sets I see, and I think it like a lot of the units I think should actually be more like you only buy it in these type of sets, right? Because then you actually have to like notice is this that type of set? Because obviously every set is different, and then it becomes much more important to notice if the set is good for it, right? Like one small unit can completely change it, like can change it from a Deadeye set to a non-Deadeye set, and I think there's a lot of skill in that in Prismata and that, and as well as a lot of fun. So I like that it's a niche unit, but maybe you guys don't agree. Maybe you guys think it's just too weak. I want to hear your thoughts because I haven't actually played with it.
Well, I like the design of the unit. It's not bought that often, but it still has a place like in super high econ games with no attack. I think it could use a small buff, like 1 extra stamina. I'd be interested to see how that plays out.
Give it what, 4 stamina, 4 health?
Or not
No,
necessarily an extra
for
health.
theming
Just,
an extra
reasons?
health is a lot of
I think
the
an
Yeah.
extra health would actually be better than extra stamina because one thing they wanted to move away from was for the ability of Deadeyes to just shoot all of your drones, and then you don't have any more decisions in that game. Um,
well, there's
so
25 or 26 drones in the game, right? If you don't have anything extra.
26 or 27, but yeah,
Right,
for
my bad, yeah.
1P2. Um, so if they were able to shoot 16 instead of 12,
and
I mean,
that you still have to buy all of the drones after that, right, to have any left, which is to an extent really boring because you're literally buying drones the whole game, right?
That's a good
well,
point.
you can
Yeah.
buy them. You can buy them in like 6 turns.
Sure,
Um,
but yeah,
But you'd be left with only 10 drones when it's
after
all
that.
My preferred change would be to just increase the health of it. The weird thing about this Deadeye is that Deadeye is kind of countered by a later Deadeye rush, or like a Deadeye rush is countered by a higher econ Deadeye because it's only equally efficient as drone if the 3 health really matters on the turn that you get it. So if I start buying Deadeyes, then you're just like, well, you're gonna have 3 health in 3 turns, but I'm not gonna be attacking you because I'm gonna buy more drones and I'll just buy Deadeyes later than you. And then my Deadeyes will actually get their value because you're gonna have to start buying attack because you'll have bought all your Deadeyes already. So, and since it's Deadeyes like comparably efficient to drones, it's just better to like never cut drones in a Deadeye set, go 3rd engineer or maybe 4th engineer if Deadeye's really good, and just like you basically buy all the drones in any Deadeye set now, I think.
Mm.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That that does sound like it might need a small buff, just because, like, again, it has no chance versus, like, does it have any chance versus any kind of like mid-econ or red rush strategy? If you have like defense supporting it, maybe just like a doom wall. Can it work
I don't know about
with that?
Doomwall, but I think Deadeye Matrix is still going to beat red rushes. Like I haven't really played it because no one really rushes red in a Matrix set. But,
Yeah, that's true.
like
Um,
it's still the best thing to do aside from drone when there's a giant absorber usually.
yeah, that is a valid point.
I think giving it one more health might make it like give it the additional efficiency that it needs to be viable, and also make the timing more important. So like if you buy it when you don't need to buy attack, but you're going to need defense in a certain number of turns, then it'll be fairly impactful if you do. Like
I'd
that.
also be interested if the thing is, however, if you add one more health, it does absorb for 3 afterwards. So it isn't just
Yeah.
4 soak at that point. It actually becomes an infusion grid, and
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Deadeye
good.
plus infusion
But
grid for
it's-
5 blue. Is that actually like
Yeah,
reasonable?
well, it costs more than Infusion Grid, and
Yeah, I mean it's much
Yeah,
slower.
it has a whole nother blue cost, but it also allows you to use it as an infusion grid. You don't even have to click it, right? You can just buy it as an infusion grid
Yeah, that's true.
replacement. You can use the ones behind it. So you buy the first one, you buy the second one, third one, fourth one. You use 2, 3, and 4 till they're exhausted. Then you use your
Then
last
you
one.
switch it out, right?
Yeah, so it would be. I think it'd be a lot more interesting unit at that point because
Definitely a more
right now
interesting unit.
you would never use it as a wall. So it's but the unit that was split out is far more intriguing to me. Manticore is a far more interesting unit as far as I'm concerned. It's actually probably a pretty strong unit in comparison to Deadeye being pretty weak right now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, Manticore is basically like the old Deadeye, except it costs 1 less gold to convert the splitter into it, and then you get 3 gold instead of shooting a drone, which is
right? I guess depending on the set.
hard to
it's better.
say.
Sometimes
I mean-
better.
It depends on the purchases and the set, I think. That's what
Yeah.
like changes it from being either worse.
I mean,
or better.
it's also some flexibility, right? It can allow for some granular abuse. It can. I mean, it's not just because you lose the attack, of course, when you click it, right, to get your 3 gold.
Yeah,
So
What's
So,
the result that
Again, the same
Yeah.
result that I.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, moving forward with the December patch, Doom Mech nerf, probably completely reasonable. I think Llama had a problem with it. I'm not
I
sure.
mean, all of the units, except for Grimbotch, have been nerfed that have been in that vein, right?
Yeah, I
The-
think so.
Every single unit, Doomed, Doom Drone
Chieftain,
got nerfed,
Doom
Chieftain got
Drone,
nerfed.
Chieftain Grimbuch, Dumek. Yeah. My
Doom.
problem
I mean, yeah,
my
Llama.
problem with the changes is that it used to be like Chieftain is the best soak out of those three, and then Dumek, and then Grimbotch, which is makes sense to me because Chieftain is like it requires multiple techs. It's
It's
a lot of
hardest to
health.
use.
It's hardest to use because it's the shortest lifespan, so you have to your opponent might not have 7 damage plus your absorb in that many turns, so it's hardest to use. So I like that it was the most efficient, and now it goes like Grimbotch, Chieftain, Doomek in terms of efficiency. And it just doesn't make as much sense to me. Why is red defense the best?
They should they just
Yeah.
nerf Grimbotch but yeah,
And
that,
then
like,
everything's good. How do you nerf Grimbotch?
yeah,
I don't
that's the
think-
thing. If you
Yeah.
make it 5 in a red, it's just so weak, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Give it one extra lifespan. Make it a mini Doom Mech. I mean,
Mini
it's
Doom
just it's not.
it's a hard change to make. It's like the same problem with Shivariyati, where like 4.5 plus red would be like a really good, but like a really good price for Shivariyati, but you can't. And if you go for 4 in
Shiviyeti's
red,
good. Don't worry about it.
I mean, no, okay, yes, it's still good, but maybe that small buff, like that small of a buff would be great for it, but changing it to like 4 in red would be insane, right? So Grimbotch is kind of in the same vein where like if you pushed it to 4.5, it would like still be good, whereas it would lose efficiency. I'm presuming it would be lower efficiency than both Chieftain and Doom Mech. But yeah. Yeah, a few other changes like Ferritin Sack change I really like.
That was good for sure.
I love that change. It's
Yeah,
so
it's just
much
a
more
hilarious
fun.
unit now.
Yeah. It's so much more fun. Like, if you know next turn you're just gonna be. I love that I can, like, if I'm, like, not using a red and I'm not gonna be using a gold for 2 turns, I can just change a red and a gold into a pixie. It's so fun. It just. It
The
allows.
worst efficiency unit ever.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
actually
most
ridiculous.
efficient unit. I got a pixie for 1 gold in 2 turns. No, but it's fun. I really like the change. I think it makes the unit much more fun, and it also makes it like purchasable in more sets. So I'm not sure if anybody didn't like that unit, but I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
like it.
Yeah, it's fine. I was looking through these changes, and there's a pretty significant theme here in the December patch, and that's that almost everything costs more in the December patch.
Everything got nerfed.
Yeah, so everything got slammed. I mean, Windsor went up in price, right?
Yeah, the Windsor nerf was like really needed. Because Windsor before that patch was just dominating every single set. You would just rush it straight up in a set with no support and be like, "Ha! I win! Herb the derp."
Yeah, it
It's still
wasn't
pretty
quite.
good, but it's not like
Yeah,
as good as often.
yeah. It's not
Yeah, I agree.
like the unit that by itself can just completely win versus most sets, right?
You need freeze or something.
Yeah, you actually
burst.
need something with it, or like, yeah, Chrono Filter is like a unit that's good with it. Llama got destroyed by that combo in Masters League, right?
Not even breach proof good enough for that, man.
Breach ain't good enough. Yeah, Odin nerf again. I think completely justified, though. Yeah, like Odin, it has like went from like the first version was just insane. The 18 blue 5 HP Odin when it first like came out was like the most insane unit that ever existed, and now it's just become like increasingly more and more stable. I think as a unit where it's a good unit. It's like pretty good, not insane, not bad. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
It's much
the
less
biggest
of an auto purchase.
yeah, well, the biggest change is also that it seems fine to blow up Odin like frequently now, which old Odin you hardly ever did that with. Like
Yeah.
you just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, because 5 HP was like energy matrix. Why would you ever click an energy matrix, right? But yeah, the nerf. I don't know. I think it was completely fine nerf. I wasn't having that many problems with Odin being too strong, but I can see where the nerf came from, and I think it was justified to an extent. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with it. It's played out nicely.
So how many people miss the no energy Trinity drone because it's the next unit on there? I kind of miss that unit.
I miss it too.
Yeah, I miss it.
I don't miss it. I really don't miss it.
You thought it was two-player favorite?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
yes, yes, yes,
but
yes, yes.
I think so. I mean, there's other options, right? There were other. You could still have a no energy Trinity drone. You just have to change pricing
The
a little bit.
Not
problem,
really.
no, the thing is with no energy Trinity drone, it just favors player 2 so much. If you increase its cost, then it just doesn't get purchased because it's not efficient enough, and then what's the point of having the unit because it never gets purchased, just like old Trinity drone, essentially. But energy is a really good constraint on how openings can turn out, and when you like remove it, that presents so many problems, right? Because essentially every single economy unit, in my opinion, like presents problems in certain sets, simply because Prismata is so well balanced that as anything that like disrupts the normal balance can be a huge problem, as we saw with Old Vivid Drone, another unit that got changed in this patch, right? And as we saw with like the No Energy Trinity Drone, where player 2 would just spam Trinity drones because they didn't cost energy. He would gain more drones. He wouldn't have to go third or fourth engineer, and would just win out on efficiency if the set like went on just because of that small change, right? And assuming like both players play equally, like player 2 would just win just because of their opening being better. And energy is a really good constraint in my opinion for like what can and can't be allowed in terms of like how efficient an opening can be. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but
No, yeah. So you reminded me a lot about the bad things about that version of Trinity Drone.
Yeah, it's the
It was
flexibility
player
that I
favorite.
miss.
Yeah.
It was.
no, I agree. It was
It gave
fun.
some flexibility that's now missing from the game. That's all. Like
It
it
was
is
so
definitely a
fun
player
to make
two.
Trinity drones in
Yeah.
the same turn.
Yeah.
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 The thing is
It's
though,
really fun to transition to Breach Free Fall in one turn.
the thing is though, I really like the new Trinity. I think it's a really good, well-designed unit.
I mean, do you like the new Trinity past like 2 or 3? I mean, are you really converting all your
if you're
drones to
going
Trinity?
breach proof, sure. But I like it as like the same way you wouldn't necessarily go for like more than 2 or 3 wild drones depending on the set, right? Where sometimes you just want to go wild drone NG into triple drone, right? It helps with some flexibility and allows you to essentially your early conduit or your natural conduit as player 2, for example, doesn't have to wait like 6 turns before it can start producing value. It's producing bad value, but you're going to have that option of like getting that unit that you might be saving for later, like Chieftain or something else, and like maybe you need a unit if your opponent like buys one of their units, right? But if he doesn't buy it, then your green is just sitting there, right? Just being unused. Whereas with the new Trinity drone, that green isn't being floated, it's actually just 1 gold, and if you know you're not going to be using that much green in the game, like if the conduit is purchased essentially too early, but there's no better purchase, Trinity drone's such a good unit. As well as like obviously in the late game when you can't use your green anymore, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
sometimes
okay,
you
force
need green for
fields.
force fields. Yeah, but I mean, I like this Trinity drone too. I actually used it in our constructed tournament with my Antima set because it
Yeah.
was like 2 drones for 2 gold. Because I didn't have another green sync, and it
Gas
worked out really
cannons.
well.
You just
So
buy gas cannons. No, but yeah, I do like it. I think it's still really flexible. Um, I enjoy playing with it. I think it also doesn't cause me to like rage for being player one, which is I think the biggest like pro for this unit. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah,
Speaking of raging about player advantage,
Vivid drone. I'm just gonna
Oh
let you
boy.
have this one, Llama, because you are the vivid drone master here, Maestro.
yeah, I've Vivid Drone's been my least favorite unit for a very long time, and the like this it changes the openings a little bit, but it doesn't change like Vivid Animus Player One, and it just there's just a problem with having a drone be this efficient and this like bulky, where you don't have any. The openings are so rigid that you have to buy vid every turn because it's so efficient, and it like uses all your energy, so you can't like if you have 3 gold left over, you can't buy an extra drone or whatever, or you can't like cut a drone because all your drones are going into Vivid Drone to buy like an Animus or a Blast Forge or something. So I really don't like this unit. It's hard to change it maybe. I saw a suggestion to make it more granular, like if it costs like 2 EE or something. That seemed interesting. I'm not sure
Mm,
how that would work out.
Like
Um,
be just one drone for 2
one
EE.
additional drone. Yeah.
yeah, so it's
That's
slightly less
interesting.
efficient and it's more granular. So I think that would be a really interesting change. The only problem with that drone is that it makes P1 turn 2 animals really good potentially.
Uh,
But you
Indeed.
know, Galvani already has that, so you know, whatever.
yeah.
I mean, do you do you remember the original Vivid from way back when
I
before it
don't want
cost
to.
drones?
I really
Yeah.
don't
I
want
just
to.
didn't bust drones. I mean, I don't really.
It to be honest,
It's
like the change to the previous Vivid, like the one before this patch, it wasn't actually big at all. Like yeah, it became more breach vulnerable and like it became even worse versus Apollo, but it's not like the efficiency changed essentially.
Well, you
So
can't buy all 4 of them in a row.
yeah, I guess that was like the biggest thing. Um, but no,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like the old Vivid wasn't as like huge of a unit, like hugely OP as some of the other units that like existed in the past.
Did you? I mean, are you finding yourself buying all 4 Vivid drones? I can't. I mean, I haven't been playing as much recently, but I can't remember very many times when I'm buying all 4
Well,
Vivids.
yeah, but how many sets are you buying? Like
It's
all
24
drones?
drones.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
like 20 drones, right? It's like almost the same amount of sets where you would do it. A few more actually, because Vivid is just so efficient. But at that point, like you actually want to be buying like more than 24 drones because you still want to have normal drones, right? So usually you would just buy 3 and like be left over with like 4 or 5 drones, and then you'd be at like 23 drones or 24 drones as well, right? So like you still have the same amount of drones, you just don't have all the vivids. Because if you go for all the vivids, you still want 6 more drones, and that's like 30 drones. And how many sets do you actually need 30 drones in? That's a very small fraction of
In
all games.
all the sets,
Yeah.
man. In all the sets.
I mean, they exist, but not that often.
Exactly. And it's like that set also has to have vivid in it, right?
Yeah,
For
it has to,
Santa-
yeah, that,
yeah.
that set has to have soak, it has to have high absorb, it has to have, all
No
kinds
good
of stuff.
attacker.
Yeah.
But yeah, next change I guess is just like Thunderhead change. I really liked it, though I haven't seen Thunderhead often nowadays. Like I see it very rarely purchased.
Hmm.
Do you think it could like use a maybe 1 gold buff, or would that actually make it like really
I
really
think
strong?
I think it's in a good state. It's just really hard to use correctly because you have to plan to get 5 green by the right turn where your opponent isn't going to have 11 damage but is going to have some damage. It's really hard to use correctly, but I think it's still a good unit.
Hmm.
Like just high skill ceiling. I think it's not good to rush anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good unit. I wouldn't change it. I like the change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah, harder to use, but it actually feels really rewarding when you do manage to use it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Overall, I'm a
compared to
big
the old
fan
one.
of it. Yeah.
I rushed it as fast as possible and I won, yay! Or I bought it when they had 7 damage and it just absorbed 7 and then 9. It was awesome.
So good.
Which it rarely happens, but it feels really rewarding when you do.
Or you just get like countered Thunderhead and like they hit 11 the
I've-
following turn and you're just like, oops. Oops.
I mean, that means buying it was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
The new blood pack change is the next change.
Yeah. I know Silver really liked this change, if I remember correctly, because he disliked the fact that Blood Pact essentially just hard countered Breach Proof. Now it kind of does it, essentially, kind of. I mean, still kind of does, but not to the same extent.
Yeah.
It makes did it make Blood Pact like a better unit overall though? It did, right?
It did.
Where it's slightly more
sure.
efficient now.
It makes it better when you're not reaching your opponent.
Yeah. So I like that it's actually that way. I like the Grimbot change. It also gives decisions to the other player, to the player receiving the Grimbotches, which is I think really cool. So yeah, this change I think was really good. I liked it.
You can combo with freeze.
Yeah, combo. Yeah, you have Cryo Rays, you buy Blood Pacts, then you freeze Grimbotches.
What are you talking about? This
Good
is where
unit.
Shiver Yeti shines.
Oh
buddy.
yeah, Shiver Yeti, how could I forget? You're right.
Super OP.
Sleeper OP. Blood Pact Shiver, the unit combo that nobody's ever thought of. It's actually OP.
So,
The next really big change though was Savior.
That
I-
is huge.
Yeah, I think I've seen Savior maybe once in every 10, 20 sets I see Savior in. Maybe a bit more than that, but
That's better than that.
yeah, it's better than that. But
I've won with it a few times. It might actually be underrated right now.
I think
yeah,
it
I
is
think
underrated.
people haven't figured out how
I-
to play it properly. Is really what it comes down
It
to.
really is hard to play because like
Yeah.
you get drones, you have a lot of drones, then you buy Savior, now you don't have a lot of drones. And then
Yeah.
it's like, wait, but I need a lot of drones for the defense to buy the defense versus my opponent buying attack.
Yeah, I think it was a very good change because now the fastest rush possible doesn't just win,
I
obviously.
mean, fastest rush possible, turn one.
Don't turn one Savior.
So you could always get Savior a turn earlier than your opponent if theirs was winning, and at least hopefully have an even game.
Do you
And
like the
it's-
fact that the damage was removed from it? Like, I mean, it seems like almost
But
unnecessary.
it's just something you can tweak to fine tune the balance of it.
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter for the unit. It's just this is the one that I assume Lunar tested it enough, and they said this is how it's good. The 6 drone cost and 6 gold cost is how it'll be balanced the most, and it's too strong with the extra 2 damage, so we're gonna just remove that. So I think it's fine. I don't think it needs damage on it.
Yeah, I mean it produces plasma fires. I think that's damage enough as is.
Yeah, I mean, it delays its effectiveness by essentially one more turn in the build time, though, because it does nothing until you've clicked it the first time.
Although the build time
doubles
got cut in
your-
half, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
But I mean, the build time is artificial. It's not really it doesn't really do anything until turn 5,
It
right?
doubles your
Sure.
drone.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean-
Yeah, it does double
Sure.
your drone the first turn it comes live, but you've sacrificed so many drones to get it, right? So
Yeah.
in 4 turns, how many of your drones have you rebuilt?
Well, so that makes that part of it a lot
drones.
more
All of the drones.
even in terms of value, because instead of having, with the old one you could have 27 drones with it. With this one, you can have a max of 21 drones with it. So there's less variation in how good it is based on how many drones you have for it, which is good.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the change definitely because the old Savior was kind of stupid.
No, I think that's a fair statement. I think it needed to be changed. I really think no one knows how to play it yet. Like I feel
It's
like
hard to play.
yeah.
It's really, really hard to play.
I I've been doing pretty well with it. Um, I'm
By
sure
not playing
Approach is
it.
by
probably
not playing it.
no. I play it when it's good.
Um,
I've had some good success with it. I think Approach understands it pretty well as well. I don't know who else does, but
yeah,
I would say that some people understand it fairly well.
I actually have the problem of not knowing when I should buy it. Where like,
The timing
yes,
or the
like,
set.
yeah, when do I buy it? Like, is it actually better to buy it fairly early on just to get silver early, or do I just like wait a long ass time and just like buy 20 drones and then buy it? But then
Depends
it
on
might
the
be
set.
so slow, right?
Yeah,
It
that's
depends on
that's
the set.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
hard
and
to
it's
say when
just so. It is so hard to determine when I want it. I
top
think that's
tip
like
is
my
not a
like that's
favorite
the
statement.
hardest
Oh,
thing.
it depends. I can't give it. It depends.
yeah.
It's true.
Hey guys,
I don't
did you
know.
know that Prismata depends on the units and how you play it?
Yeah, right. Like, the
No, I
number
don't
of
think that's
drones is
actually true,
impacted
though,
by the
Crash.
random units set, and there's so many different possibilities that you just can't say. You got to look at each individual
It
set. It's its own
depends.
thing.
Um,
So
um,
the next change on the list is Zamora, but I guess we can
yeah,
save it.
like
to-
Zamora
to-
also got changed this patch. So Flame Animus, really fast. I liked the change before it was way too strong. Now it's kind of
Agreed.
good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's a good change.
yeah, the build time is sometimes it's annoying because you can't like do what you really want to do. Like you can't go like Flame Animus Animus. Then again, that was the problem
You
before,
can't
right?
cheese out stuff.
Yeah, though I do like that you can go Flame Animus into Animus now, right? Which is
Yeah,
really
well,
fun.
The nice thing about this Flame Animus is that it
Gives your opponent
like
an option
if
to
you
go.
say you want to get like an Antima comet, right, and
Yeah.
you want to get it off of Flame Animus, before you just get the Flame Animus, and your opponent didn't have time to preempt your Antima.
Yeah.
Now you have the choice between I could delay my Antima turn and be more efficient, or I can get the Animus, be less efficient, but get the Antima turn sooner.
Yeah.
And there's that decision with a lot of things.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I like it about that. Though sometimes it feels really slow in certain like Lucina sets, because like it's really hard going like Flame Animus, Animus, Lucina. Really, really hard because your opponent just goes like Animus, Lucina, and it's like he has like 7 damage on the turn that you want to buy Lucina, and you have like 2, and you're just like, oops. And then you
That's
just
the
lose.
turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, Centrifuge, essentially
Oh,
the
your
last
favorite unit.
change. Your favorite unit? Did you
Is
say?
it
Favorite
yours?
unit.
Oh,
Yours.
mine.
Maybe.
Is it your
Yeah.
favorite after the change?
Probably still, yeah. I just like the unit as a whole because it just enables so many things. I just find it fun. I was kind of really sad when they changed it because I just really loved how crazy it was before. I guess it's a
Yeah.
better unit now overall. I'm still sad, but it is a better unit overall. I like the direction they nerfed it in though, like or pushed it in. Not necessarily a nerf, though I think it is. But I like that it's more focused on the technology that you get now, rather than the gold, right?
Yeah, it allows you to buy fewer like big
units. But it allows
Sure.
better like it pushes it more into the combo territory. It also
Yeah,
makes
well, you just have
like,
to delay it longer if you want to.
Yeah.
You want to get a combo of big units like
exactly,
Odin plus Lucina or something.
which is really good because like dealing with like Lucina Tia on turn 5 is kind of stupid, right?
Yeah, I really didn't like with the old Centrifuge when you wanted to make it basically as fast as possible.
It wasn't like that in every set, but yeah,
But they
it
did
was
exist.
in too many of the sets. It was like that.
Yeah. Well, my favorite centrifuge sets are always the ones where you don't even cut a drone when you buy it. You just like, you know what? Turn 6 centrifuge. It's time.
Yeah, that is what's interesting now is the no. Here's a unit with no energy cost, guys.
Hey, yeah, no energy.
Econ unit, no
Yeah.
energy cost. So
Yeah, one opening with the centrifuge that I'm still not sure if it's good or not is like the player 2 drone centrifuge drone, right? you float 4 instead of the natural conduit, but you do go like centrifuge double drone the following turn, and then you don't float the 2 energy. So
I
Yeah,
think it's a pretty good
it's pretty
opening.
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like if you want a slower centrifuge, but you don't want to go third engineer, it's good.
yeah, quite like it. It's still like centrifuge is still a fun unit, just less fun, right?
This one.
Yeah, it's like the same as Savior. It's like less ridiculous, but
Yeah.
it's a better unit now for the
Yeah,
for the game.
definitely agree. That's basically it for the December patch. It's like following that, like not like last week's patch, I guess. It came out what, Thursday, Wednesday? I don't remember.
Yeah,
which
I
day.
don't
it
remember.
was great. The patch came out right before, right, like the week of
The
first
Masters
part-
finals.
The first part came out on the 11th.
No,
Yeah.
no, that was just the blog post.
Yeah,
The
the
patch
date-
came
Okay,
out.
that was
The patch came out after the second blog post, which was on Sunday. I think it came out like on Tuesday, probably on the 17th, or on the 16th. Sorry, but either way, a lot of changes this patch, and yeah, I don't know. I guess big thing, Red got nerfed, right? Lightning hated that, so I'll just let you go over like all of them.
Yeah, okay. So, like, I think I posted on Reddit that this patch was, like, my least favorite patch in quite a while coming from Lunark.
Yeah,
It wasn't all bad by any means. If I just go down the list in order, I thought the Corpus change was reasonable. I don't really like the flavor of the unit as much anymore. Like, before it felt like a more interesting unit, whereas now it's just a mono red defender.
yeah.
And it's not very good because it's a mono red defender. Like, that's necessary. But it just feels less interesting overall. What do you guys think about that?
I definitely agree it's less interesting. So for me, I liked the previous Corpus. Like the unit in a vacuum by itself, I think it's a cool design unit. It just comboed with like other units. That was its problem,
Yeah,
right?
it did.
Like Red has the best attackers. Like there's no discussion here. Lucina, Shadowfang, Tatsu, Vi, right? Just all, like Blood Rage are just the best units. And then you introduce a defender that's actually good efficiency with that red. And then it just becomes ridiculous, right? Emperor. It just becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's
It
what
had
I
to
hated
change.
about it. So I wanted it changed, not because I found it not interesting. Like if Corpus, the old design, was put into like green or blue, I'd love it. But it just doesn't work as a triple red purchase.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's fine as a red defender, like efficiency-wise. It's kind of the correct efficiency, I think. The clickability might be able to get a 1 gold buff or something, because I
Yeah,
find
it
that the
feels pretty
clickability
bad right now.
is quite weak. Like you click it and you spent all this gold and you actually have like what, 1 more defense for that gold on that turn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rough
You're
to
getting-
actually
you're-
defend on that turn.
You're getting the same amount of I guess prompt as a wall, or the same amount of soak as a wall.
Well,
Yeah.
so you
For
click it so it
5R.
doesn't defend anymore, and you build 3 husks.
Yeah. No, I
So
mean
you're,
like
you're
the-
netting 1 defense on that turn, so it's really bad on that turn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like okay, so if you had a unit that was just like 5R and buy triple husk, like if that was a spell, that spell would be really strong. But
but
because you're
sacked
buying
the
like
2
6 RR for essentially 1 husk and 1 absorb, and then you're paying that for like increasing by 1 defense of what you already have, that's where it just becomes like,
yeah.
that's bad.
Yeah.
I think at 4R it would still be like reasonable, I think. But I like that they over nerfed it rather than under nerfing it, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
I think even Elliot stated it in like the blog post itself. They've like under-nerfed units in the past, like really often, where they would just like try and nerf it and then just like, oh wait, we have to nerf it again. Oh again. Oh again. And just kept going.
I mean,
with it.
that's what they did with Shadowfang, guys. That's the next unit on the
Oh,
list.
God.
They went from 6RR to 7RR to unusable RR.
Have any of you won with new Shadowfang yet?
I haven't. No, I tried but lost.
You tried.
I beat Masterbot with the new
Oh,
Shadowfang.
bastard bots.
Impressive.
I
I mean, I just used it in a chrono filter set and it worked out.
that sounds pretty good.
Buy it every other turn.
Like
with the-
this is a set this is like the whole patch I almost can't talk about like in terms of how I've performed after it, because I think I've only played 5 games on this patch.
And 4 of them were Masters League
5
finals.
of them were Masters League.
So I see.
Oh, he won one. Come on.
I
now.
forgot he actually won a game.
Yeah, it was the
Very
Anthema
bad.
set, you know, the Anthema the blue-red 4 engineer guy, Cauterizer, and I was like, it
Yeah.
really
Good
simple to
combo.
purchase. Yeah, it's just like, oh, Anthema Cauterizer, why would I think? It,
Yeah.
it worked out.
But back to Shadowfang.
Yeah, back to Shadowfang.
I really like this change because for such a cheap unit, you can't have a unit that's that efficient. I mean, you could have had it like a year ago when there was not very much red support, but now with all the current red support and double animus isn't as much of a drawback, you just can't have a unit that's that much more efficient than all the other attackers when it's so cheap and you can get it really soon, like on
Turn 3.
turn 3. Yeah.
Um,
As player 2.
Yeah.
But I
even
think
as
it's
player
still
1 with Galvani drones. Right.
okay. Yeah, with alternate drones. Yeah. It's still really efficient. Like it's still more efficient than I think all of the attackers that don't require double animus. That aren't like excluding like conditional attackers like Blood Rager. You know, it depends on the attack that you pay for it.
Yeah.
But like all the vanilla attackers, it's still more efficient than all those that don't require double animus, and it's the cheapest one of those, so
Is
it
it-
should be probably the least efficient of those, just by a little bit.
Is it still more efficient than Sinestra?
Slightly, yeah.
Slightly.
Hmm.
It was because if you remember, Sestra used to cost 1 gold less.
Yes.
So
11.
they both used to cost 1 gold less, and Shadowfang was still
more efficient
than,
back then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It's more of a nerf to Shadowfang,
then
Yeah,
it was to
what's the
Sinestra.
but it's still slightly more efficient than Sinestra,
Yeah, because
which is good.
thing is now
I-
you actually need like 13 drones for like Shadowfang Rhino, which I think the problem with that comes that like that 13th drone is just so hard to actually create, right? Because like 12 drones you could create, but as soon as you create the 13th one, then what are you spending like the other gold on, right? And I think that's like the
Drone
problem.
number 14 and 15.
No, like that's the problem that Shadowfang I think has right now, where like when you go for the 13 drone, you can't like go for double animus because you don't have 15 gold, and you can't just like go single animus because then you're buying Tarsiers instead of
So you're saying
Shadowfang.
that the problem is that the openings don't just magically work out perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
I just don't think Shadowfang rushes are viable anymore, which I think was what Lunark was going for.
Yeah,
And
I-
it's a matter of personal preference when I say that I'm really going to miss them. But like from that perspective, I'm not a fan of the change.
Well, the problem with Shadowfang rushes is like literally if you ever tried to mirror it, you lost instantly. I don't remember a single time.
So there had to be a counter in the set to the Shadowfang.
Yeah, so you had to do
And the
an
vast
asymmetric
majority of
strategy.
sets had counters.
I
And
don't
then
know
you-
about that.
I mean, the Shadowfang
Right,
player
so
won a
the-
fair bit of them.
Yeah,
the biggest
Shadowfang player
problem
won
sets
fair
are with
bit of them.
Corpus, I think.
Yeah.
Like I remember a few where
I mean, I think
Drone
that,
Shadowfang Corpus when that won, that was ridiculous.
No, I hated that you could literally just go like drone float 4 double animus Shadowfang and then you win the game. Out of that play,
Yeah.
you win the game.
That
I mean,
rarely happened, but when it did, that felt bad. Yeah.
It was just
it was really,
you
really
can't do
bad.
anything against it, and I like that they like essentially are moving away from units being able to do that, because like Savior was the same, right? Talking about the previous patch, where you would just buy it on like turn 2 and you would win the game, and there's nothing your opponent could really do reasonably against it.
The unit that I mean, you guys keep bringing up Corpus, but the unit I think that is really, really ugly with the low econ Shadowfang was Nitrocybe. I mean, Nitrocybe gave you a lot of.
Not quite.
It
mean,
was
you
good,
could go-
but it wasn't like, oh my god, this is the unit that just makes Shadowfang impossible to beat. No, that
Yeah,
was
Nitrocide
Corpus.
was good with it as well. By itself, it didn't quite justify turn 1 flow 4 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
It was
enough.
close. I think with Ossified Drone it could. Something like that.
Yeah.
Ossified plus Nitrocide.
The thing, Ossified plus Nitrocybe isn't that good of a combo though, because like you can't click Ossified as well as buy Nitrocybe. So it's like, okay, you buy an Ossified and then you buy Nitrocybe, but then you only have one Ossified, and then it's just like, I really want all my Ossified drones, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you can click. This is of course with Shadowfang. You can click it once, right, and then you can transition. So now you have 2 ossifieds, and you can transition into Nitrocybes after that.
I mean, sure, but like again, it's not really.
It's not that it's a combo. It's just that
Yeah, both
that
are
was
good
the minimum
supporting
that you
units.
needed to flip
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many more red units that were beat up in this patch.
Yeah, it's like
I know.
a unit that like. Okay, I know a lot of people maybe didn't feel like it needed it, and I don't think it needed it either. Emperilla. I think what Emperilla needs is to be deleted.
I agree. Actually, I agree with you, Crash.
It's
Should not exist.
it's a stupid unit. That's all I can say about it. It's a unit that is actually impossible to plan on who wins, I think. It's the only unit that is just like, I wonder who's gonna win every time I go for Emperilla. And I
There are
actually don't
some-
know.
There are some Emperilla sets that are fun to play.
Yeah,
when
no.
you can,
Okay, I'm
Like position around buying Emperilla.
no, I'm
but I
definitely
do
like
understand what you're saying.
exaggerating here, but it's just like it's so huge that it's just like it. All of the logic of normal Prismata just kind of flows out the window. Like, did I say flow?
Yeah, it works.
Flies out
I
the
mean,
window. There we go.
you know,
Flow works
the slow dribble out the window of the flow out. Fine. Yeah. Your point got across.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just like bringing this up again. But it was just like the old Savior. With you would just buy Savior turn 2, and then it just like becomes like a completely insane game where nothing else makes sense, right? Because it's just like every player has like both players have 50 gold, and they're creating a plasma fire every turn for the price of like 2 drones. It's like sell 2 drones, get a plasma fire.
I feel like
do
World
that.
Savior should have been an event instead of a unit introduced into Prismata.
That's how I feel about Emperilla, where Emperilla is the strategy, right? Where it's just like either you then buy Tarsiers and buy damage and like prevent Emperilla, or Emperilla gets purchased and the player that doesn't get Emperilla loses. And it's just like, if you can't prevent the Emperilla purchase, you just lose. And there's like,
Yeah, so you gotta prevent that Amperilla
yeah, but
purchase, man.
sometimes it's just like, yeah, there's Corpus and there's like Ferret and
There's-
Sack
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
There's all
Fusion
these
Grid,
units that make it really
or
hard.
like any combo like that gets you triple red, like Flame Animus or like Chrono Filter, and you're just like, I guess it's an Emperilla set. Tarsier. Can I buy
Yeah.
Emperilla? Yes. Emperilla. Can I buy Emperilla? No. Tarsier. And it just keeps going, and it's just like, this again. Nice.
I mean, Tarsier is the best. I mean, you know, There's an emote that says Tarsier, Tarsier. I mean,
Some people really love
that's
Tarsier.
Yeah, some people do love Tarsiers.
I mean, I think that's how Wise might have won was Tarsier, 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 Tarsier.
Tarsier.
You made Tarsiers quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Amperilla, again, though, planning to get an Amperilla takes a lot of effort. So it's not an easy unit, I think, to build.
No, it's
So
not an easy unit, but it's a unit that is too impactful.
once it's built, you're in
essentially.
trouble.
Even if it's not, like, the problem is it forces games that are so not uneventful, but like there's essentially no decisions in it because like you have to buy Tarsiers or you lose the Amperilla essentially if like Tarsiers a decent attacker by itself already.
I mean, it's the one unit that equalizes the game into a base set game again. It's beautiful. What are you talking about?
That's
Amperillas
something.
not base set, though.
Yeah.
Practice my base.
That's actually my one problem with Amperilla
Yeah.
is that
It
it can be
is.
kind
I
of
mean,
boring
that's-
to buy Tarsiers.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't really mind anything else with it. Like, there's an optimal time to start going for Tarsiers and then to get your Amperilla out. And if you go for it too early, then you get like Tesla coiled out or something like that. You can't get your Amperilla and you just lose. So like finding that optimal timing is cool, and
The thing is
like,
though with like
determining if you can get the
Yeah.
like in the race for the first Amperilla or
Yeah.
biggest Amperilla.
I think
There's a lot of
Amperilla
preference.
mirrors are just cancer.
yeah,
It can be
that's
it
what I
can be a
wanted to
fun
say.
unit when it's Amperilla versus something else,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get an Amperilla
I think
out. But
in sets where like only one player is going Amperilla, like that's when Amperilla is like fine as a unit. But in Amperilla mirrors, it's just like you're hoping that the Amperilla that you purchase will beat the opponent's Amperilla, and it's just like
well, you shouldn't be hoping, but like there's an optimal timing, and you're kind of hoping that you have that optimal timing.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
okay, sure.
essentially like the change from there's another unit that's like this Antima I think is like this as well, where just like say turn 4 as player 1 buying Amperilla, like whatever turn 8 as at player 1 buying Amperilla is bad. It's really bad. Buying it on turn 5 is great, but your opponent buying it on like 4.5 or whatever on like their turn 4 is good enough to win. And if you go for it on turn 8, you lose. If your opponent and if you try and go for it on turn 9, you also lose, just because your opponent has the better timing and there's like essentially nothing you can do about it. And
I'm
I
not
think
sure about your numbering there, but I think I can.
I switched back to 4
your
for
point
some
was
reason.
good, though, was,
It's like I went
you
from
know, a
4
whole
to
bunch
8,
of
back to
hocus
4, and
pocus
then back to 8.
You know, you did what Apucci was doing the other night when we were playing games. You know, just putting random percentages on things.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
you
no,
just
no.
did
Okay,
there.
okay. No, like it doesn't matter which turn number it is, but like, okay, buying it on your turn as player 1 is bad. It loses. Buying it on the next turn is
Or buying
great
it on the
value.
same turn as player 2 is really good.
Is good
and-
enough to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing you can do about it, right? I think Antima kind of has the same problem, but a bit less strongly. And it's just because like Amperilla is such a strong purchase, right? Like, if after you have 3 Tarsiers out, like if you have 4 Tarsiers, Amperilla is like insane already. Not only is it like just an insane purchase where it gives you 4 damage for 12 RRR, which is like that's more efficient than Shadowfang, more efficient than old Shadowfang, right? It also makes Tarsiers into a Shadowfang, right? So
And once you have the Amperilla out, your decision making becomes: can I buy a Tarsier without getting breached?
Yes!
If
Yeah,
so, buy a
exactly.
Tarsier without
Can I-
getting breached.
It's
That's the
never
thing.
can I buy the second Amperilla. It's always
Well-
can I defend and squeeze out more Tarsiers.
I mean, sometimes you buy the
That's
second
fair.
Amperilla,
If
but if you can
sometimes-
buy the second Amperilla, you've already won. So it's just like, yeah,
Sometimes you squeeze out the Tarsier and get breach next turn and die.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely, but it's like, it's essentially the same decision that like Shadowfang had, where like, can I buy Shadowfang? Yes, buy Shadowfang unless I die. right?
Somehow those are more fun for me, but I guess it
That's
doesn't make much logical sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's such a strong unit because like yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I actually, it doesn't get buffed very often.
No, it doesn't, but it forces those Starcer games, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
That's like the thing is because as soon as you start buying Tarsiers and it's like there's no good defender, then you can't buy Emperilla. But if you don't buy Tarsiers, then your opponent gets Emperilla and wins. So you
Unless
have to buy
some other
Tarsiers.
attacker. Like
Yeah.
if you have Tantalum Ray, you
Yeah.
just go Tantalum Rays
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
not
yeah,
getting Emperilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But besides Emperilla, there's like two other like very similar units, Bloodphage, Gaussite, that both got nerfed very similarly, I guess. I mean, okay, Gaussite got straight nerfed, just 1 gold
No.
nerf, right?
Hey man, 1 gold for a Gauss Church. That's OP.
Yeah.
God's charge in 3 turns.
Wait, did I say Gaussite? Wait, what?
You
I'm
said
so gonna...
Bloodphage and,
No,
and
because the
Gauss
click-
Oh,
Symbiote.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Like Gaussite Symbiote just got a simple nerf, one gold nerf.
But
I'm-
it did have
I'm
the
okay with
ability
it.
buffed, so it's not
Oh,
like
The
yeah.
ability is 6 now.
Right.
Yeah, 1 gold for a Gauss Church. It's OP.
Huh.
I was
Yeah,
initially
those are-
not very happy with this change, but after playing it with a bunch, I may have been wrong on this one. It feels still pretty decent at 8 RR.
Like Symbiote is still
Yeah, it's
really,
fine.
really efficient, right? The thing is, if they nerfed
It's not
Shadowfang,
really efficient, but it's fine.
yeah, okay, it's still really efficient. Like what?
It's fine.
Okay, it's fine. It's like slightly worse than Shadowfang now.
Do you guys like the
It's
Fate
way
change?
worse.
It's always worse. It was always worse than Shadow.
No.
I
If
mean,
Conduit
it's slightly
was
worse than
always
new
gonna be bad.
Shadowfang. I agree. Slightly worse than new Shadowfang.
Yeah, no, but like, I don't know. I'm okay with the change. I actually like that they pushed like less efficient, just normal punches, and the clickability stronger. I think that's more interesting, just in general. Like, because now it's like, oh, the game isn't ending next turn, but do I still want to click it, right? Where before it's just like, do I breach if I click it? Yes, click, right? And that's like the only decision that really mattered. Okay, sure, it wasn't, but
Yeah.
yeah. I like this change. Bloodphage, I also like it. No more turn 1 Animus player 2 lines, because those were stupid as fuck.
So I haven't played with Bloodphage since the patch. I don't know if people still have it embargoed or what, but like I've been playing and Bloodphage hasn't come up.
I've played a few games with Bloodphage. It's interesting. I mean, it's not.
Is it still possible to like go turn to Animus Bloodphage, or is it not good?
If you have
It's
if you
okay
have a
with
supporting
us.
unit,
I did that with Perforator.
Did it
Yeah.
work for later? And it was fine.
if you have a supporting unit, it works.
No,
It was
because
like
the thing
first-
is, because you can go
Yeah.
Bloodphage plus something, right, on turn 3, if you go turn to Animus, right? As,
You
say,
go
player
you can go
1.
Bloodphage plus. I think you can go
Nitricide.
Nitricide. Yeah,
You only have
Yeah,
2
sure.
gold.
Yeah.
if-
yeah.
if
You
it's
can
just
do
their
you can
one.
do Ossified or Nitricide
Yeah, and neither of
or
those.
Ferritin Sac.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not
But
terrible.
is that a good play though? That's what I'm asking.
Not
I-
really, no. It would be better to go like start out with Grimbotches or something, or Tarsiers, and then get it.
And then get it. So it's like
Yeah.
it's actually like less of an econ unit now, essentially, right? And
I mean, it's still an econ unit.
yeah, but it's
still a
less
draw.
like
It's more of a get it later than get it sooner, I think.
yeah. If that is what the change has accomplished, then I really like the change, because I think Bloodphage before, where you just like try and get it as early as possible, was kind of not fun. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, my problem was that you would always just get it if it was the only red unit, you'd still get it.
Yeah. That
On turn 3.
yeah.
So
Which
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
So
I
that-
still
they-
like the design, but this change seems fine. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't played with it. But
yeah, I think
I
it's
mean,
a cool unit
yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean the clickability still allows for you to
Flexibility,
do
yeah.
the to spend, right? To spend your resources. It still allows
Yeah.
you if
It's
you
just
go
you just
if you
don't
go
rush
early.
this unit,
No,
which
but I'm
is
saying that
fun.
if you go early, it still gives you some flexibility
Yeah,
of
no, no,
getting.
no, no. I mean,
It's
like
not
you
like
can still get it early, but you actually need to be. It needs to be like a rushy set or a rushy strategy rather than just like getting it in a set with like defense grid and energy matrix on turn 3.
Yeah.
um. So yeah, if the change has accomplished what I think it has, then I'm okay with it.
One of those changes we'll look back and like, I remember when the Blood Phage cost 7 gold and 2 red. Oh, those are the days.
um. Thank God for Wild Drone change.
Why
Thank
did it take them
Christ.
so long?
This is a good change, guys, because I don't think I lose as many wild drone sets anymore, which just makes me happy. Like,
I might, I might actually be able to unembargo it now. Yay, you know.
well,
Yeah.
do you think the massive amount of banning in Masters League had anything to do with them finally being like, let's just screw it, let's change it? Because I think 80% of the field had it banned in Masters League.
Possibly. Like,
I mean,
I think
I feel like it was
may,
banned in
maybe
every
the reason
Masters
they
League
haven't
match this
nerfed it
season.
before is because everybody embargoed it, and then there weren't any statistics about like high yellow players about how unbalanced it was, and they were just like, this doesn't
Maybe.
seem that unbalanced. This is perfectly normal. There's one game in the past 2 months that has been played with Wild Drone. Wait a second.
I don't know what the stats were, but I mean, this is really nice that we've removed probably the most common like auto win
Yeah.
scenario.
It-
So it's a big improvement.
Yeah,
Yep.
Good change. Another change I think is really good is the steady change. A steady before the previous change, like the force field steady, was really strong where it would just like by itself it would essentially create a high econ game. But then like this steady was like it was just slightly too weak to be like purchased in a lot of sets where like you can't really go high econ just for a steady, but you need to go high econ to really purchase a steady, right? And I think this change is like finding a good like middle ground between those two. So I haven't played with it yet, but
I mean, so a
obviously.
couple of interesting things is where it clicks to, right? So now
Yeah.
it clicks to 11, it clicks to 8, right? So the first two barriers
Down
are
to 2.
yeah.
It clicks to
You
5
click
and
it all the way
two.
down, it clicks down to 2. But I'm just saying that those first two clicks, you still have an 8 HP Asteri, which is still pretty good, right? It's not. It's
like
the
slightly
nerf
worse
doesn't
than Steel's
feel
Breaker.
as it doesn't feel as bad as it could have felt, losing that 2 HP. But
If
yeah,
you
no, it
click
does.
it
It
once,
clicks
it's
down
not
to
a
2
nerf at
now,
all.
which is huh?
If
you
you
don't-
click the Asteri once, the HP nerf like is canceled out basically
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it costs
you click
you
into the
less.
same
I
spot.
mean, I
as
don't
it
think
used
the
to.
HP nerf is like at all essential. Like instead of being slightly worse than Gauss cannons to kill, it's like slightly better. I don't think that's like a big thing, but because Gauss cannons are probably still going to be killed first, just because like putting 10 on a steady is worse than killing 2 Gauss cannons, right?
Right. Unless
Well,
you
not
have like
necessarily.
antima damage or
Okay,
something.
not unnecessarily, but like in a breach-proof mirror, isn't it usually better to like get rid of 2 damage now rather than just like
No,
gain
I
1
would
HP?
actually.
Like,
No, usually, like even with the 16 health one, I would kill the Asteries first because in the end game, if you're left with like an Asteri rather than 3 Gauss cannons, like you get that thing down to 5 HP and it's still attacking you for 3 and it'll win the game for them.
But if
I
you kill the Gauss
guess.
cannons first, you save yourself 2 health, and
Yeah.
I
it's
mean,
like,
yeah, it depends.
yeah,
you're making the same amount of progress. Don't know.
yeah.
No, but it stays alive for longer the longer you wait to kill it.
I'm fairly sure
Yeah,
that
that
if
is
one
true.
player
I'll explain
targets
it very well.
Asteris and the other player targets Gauss cannons, the player targeting Gauss cannons would win in essentially almost every situation, unless the player targeting Asteri cannons was already like ahead.
My experience is the opposite.
And
Okay.
I want to agree with Crash, but I may just be wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
same,
I think
like-
breach proof is not my strongest area. Prismata.
Well, like big
But
change.
yeah, I like the change because I kind of miss the old Asteri mirrors. They're just
Those
been a
were
little too
fun.
long.
I really like those because I won like almost all of them. So yay.
Yeah, like
Let's go
all
back
the
to
really
that.
old players probably miss them because like we all perfected them because we played them so often.
Yeah, it's like every other game was steady mirror. Okay, oh yeah, now I can go steel splitter is steady. Yeah, wall is steady. Great. Yep. Steady again. Whoop, yep. Now force field. Yep. Um,
Now no one has
Just-
studied Asteri at all because it
it's
just
just-
doesn't get built.
yeah,
There's just something familiar about it that makes me want to go Asteri.
yeah.
And
Okay.
wasn't it fun when you would run out of Asteri force fields and then your 4 green per turn would just be 4 force fields every turn? That's how it always
It's
went.
fun.
Every time.
I miss the force field function of Asteri.
Oh yeah, Rezo for a steady. Damn, that combo is so good. I miss that combo.
So
Yeah.
the next change is this
Lance
got
Tooth.
changed twice. Lance Tooth got changed twice, right? So
Okay,
it
so
got changed
we're all
December.
happy it's not 7 blue anymore, right?
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Temron?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think so.
Fine with that.
Okay, I'm not happy it's 6 blue either, though. I think this.
Well, it's to attack now. It costs to attack. So.
I
So-
think it's too strong for a blue attacker. Like,
So okay, what they did was like they added an alright click to the first lance tooth, right? Essentially,
A mandatory
paying-
right click.
yeah, like you have to do it, right?
but you only get 1 gold, not 2.
Wait, what? No, to do
The
it
first-
like
Oh,
8
the
blue.
first lance
Yeah,
tooth,
the
sure.
first lance tooth, right? So it's like if both damage is wasted, right? If you actually have to damage versus a wall, the efficiency of this lance tooth is insane.
It feels
Like
great
picture.
to build Lance Tooth when you have 2 damage. I
Yeah.
mean, into a wall. I mean, it feels like. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, it feels.
It
like
feels like
simple.
winning.
It
Yeah,
feels
it
like
feels-
winning.
It's like ridiculous. We have
So
exactly
like,
2 damage into wall, and you build Lance Tooth, and then you build Lance Tooth again.
So-
It's just too good,
this lance
too
tooth is
good.
like
and it's so
it's
cheap.
really
60.
annoying because like when your opponent already has 2 damage, not buying absorb feels bad, right? It
But
feels
it's
bad.
perfect. You build
But
rhinos,
buying
man.
absorb,
Shiver
also
Yeti.
feels
Rhinos,
bad.
man.
Shiver
Shiver
Yeti,
Yeti.
OP.
Shiver Yeti.
yeah, it's just
You build the 2. You build the 2 health soak. Or sorry,
Yeah,
the
no,
2 health absorb.
the one health, the one absorb. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
one
but
absorb.
it's just so. Like, okay. First of all, it's extremely similar to Blood Rager, except
Sort of.
Blood Rager doesn't have good defense after you buy it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in red. Well, with Lancet, you're in blue, so you have good defense after buying it.
I mean, even
It's
the
an
Lance
extremely
Tooth
good,
can be
like,
defense,
okay,
right?
no. The thing is, with this Lancet, only denying 1 absorb is essentially good as well. It's better than Tarsier slightly, right? Because,
A little bit, I think.
it's like, okay, so if only 1 gold is being, 1 damage is being like if only 1 absorb is being denied, then it's essentially just like old Lance Tooth, except that instead of doing like 1 damage, you're gaining 2 gold, right? Because like instead of, okay, so old Lance Tooth, you would pay 1 attack and you would pay 8. Here you miss out on an attack, but you only pay 6, right?
Old Lance Tooth wasn't that good, though.
It-
Like,
no,
that's why
it
they
wasn't.
buffed it.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was like, right?
Mm.
But the thing is, the new one, where only one absorb is being denied, is still better than old Lance Tooth, right? So
Yeah.
the
Sure.
value in it when it's denying 2 absorb is like bonkers, right?
Sure, I
It-
agree.
So is Blood
completely.
Rager.
Yeah, Blood Rager with denying 2 absorb is like insane. But again, Blood Rager has the problem that it's in red, just like all other efficient attackers.
Yeah, but
Lance
Blue
Tooth
has the
doesn't.
problem of to get to attack, you have to buy 2 steel splitters.
Yeah,
Unless there's
okay.
another blue unit in the set.
Unless you've
Well,
got
no, or
the-
or
Like,
you
you'd
start.
much rather buy 2 Tarsiers and then do
yeah,
it, right?
sure. But Lancet there's a lot of blue units that force defense out, and
Yeah.
then you can go Lance Tooth. Drake,
you know
Grenade Mech, Odin.
Lance Tooth
Have you like Odin, like Steel Splitter into Odin
Here,
into
I'll
double
tell you what
Lance
it's
Tooth?
really good with, guys. Here's what it's really good with. It's really good with Borehole. So you get Borehole, you get Lance Tooth, you get Gauss Cannon Lance Tooth, and it's just like a dream. And you only have the 2 health absorbers, so you only have the 1 absorb, so their Lance Tooths don't feel so good. So
I've used Borehole to counter Lance Tooth without buying my own. It
Yeah.
feels
No,
pretty
no,
good.
but I'm just saying that when Borehole's in a set, you buy that first Borehole, then you buy your first Lance Tooth, and the next, you buy Lance Tooth. You buy Lance Tooth Gauss Cannon, and then you buy another Lance Tooth, and it's a beautiful thing. So I don't know. I mean, I like the new Lance Tooth. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's wrong for Blue to have a couple efficient attackers.
No,
I
I'm
think
okay
that's
with
the-
it having efficient attackers. I just don't like the flavor of it. I much more preferred like the original Lance Tooth, where even though it was like kind of meh, right? I still like the flavor more because this is this is literally just becoming Blue Rager, right?
It was Blue Rager, and now it's just different.
Not
Blue Rager.
really. Like costing 1 damage is so much different than like costing 3 damage.
You
or 2
just
damage.
you just buy 2 of them instead of 1 of them.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
buying
that's
2 of
what-
them was really hard. Because they
Yeah, when
actually
it
cost
cost
8
8,
gold.
Yeah,
right?
when they were
The
expensive.
thing is, now it's like you buy Drake, and then you buy like Lance Tooth, right? And your opponent like has to buy Wall versus Drake, or you're like threatening 4 damage versus them, right? And they have like 2 engineers or something, and it just feels so annoying, right?
So I like how we're talking about like 2-unit combos that make Lance Tooth annoying. Lance Tooth Lance Tooth without supporting units is not that annoying.
Yeah,
And there's a
no.
lot of units that become annoying once you add support. So, your argument's flawed because there's a lot of units that when you add support become
The
extremely
thing
annoying.
is, it's like when a unit only has 1 supporting unit, that's not a problem. But when it has like 10, that's kind of a problem. But because it's almost always gonna have a
10?
supporting unit.
10? What 10 units are supporting your Lance
Borehole,
Tooth?
Grenade Mag, Drake, Odin, Omega Splitter, kind of. There's others.
So
Let me think.
you're going to swing Omega Splitter and give up 1 health. Well, at first you're going to build an Omega Splitter that your opponent can just build a whole bunch of Lance Tooths into. I mean,
No, because you're attacking with the Omega Splitter, obviously.
okay, so you're going to sacrifice your 1 damage into a wall, and give up your absorb.
No, because the thing is, you go like Steel Splitter, Omega Splitter into like double Lance Tooth wall, right? And then you go double Lance
fair.
Tooth, Steel Splitter,
reasonable. That's
and that's a
reasonable.
lot of damage, right? There's a lot of units that can like, just like they force out defense, and then you go Lance Tooth, and it's not like you have like a drawback to it because you're in the best defending, okay, kind of the best defending technology already, right? It's just.
I mean,
I
we
don't
all know that green has the best defense.
I don't. Okay. As much as I'm saying like all of these negatives, it's not that like, it's not really a problem unit
You just
almost
want to
at all.
rant.
I just don't like the flavor. I just think it's kind of stupid because it's
I
just
think
like
it's just slightly too strong, but like it's not that big of a deal.
no, it really isn't, not at all. Like compared to like Wild Run, no, not even close, right?
Although
But
I will say that of the 3 versions you've seen, I think I liked the original Lance Tooth the most.
that's what I'm saying. I think even though the original Lance Suit wasn't
I can
like
do that.
amazing, I still liked it just because it was like, it's still nice. There's still like, it just like essentially like you get it if your opponent buys Absorb, but if your opponent doesn't buy Absorb, then the unit already forced your opponent to not buy Absorb, which even if you're not buying it, it's still impactful on how the game is played. So I just liked it in that regard.
So we can stop at the ranting and we can move on to the last changed
it's
unit,
not-
perhaps.
Yeah,
which
I
is
guess the
Vi.
last changed unit. Yeah, I mean, I know I like this change. I know other people don't. So
I mean,
I like it.
What it did was it made it so that it doesn't combo anymore with
Chrono Filter and Flame Animus essentially.
exactly. That's what happened here.
Yeah,
Like
mostly
I think the
Chrono.
biggest Chrono, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Chrono
the
Fire was
Yeah, the problem with the old Vi was that like pretty much every time Corona and Vi are on the same set, you just rush it as fast as possible, and you usually win if you got it first.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like weren't even getting it fast enough. It's such a good unit, and there's so little commitment when it's chrono filter that you like cut drones for it, you get it really fast. And they tended to be interesting games. It was just like the strategy was so obvious, and it like Vi has this really interesting ability where it freezes and loses the damage. So like that ability can vary its effectiveness a lot. And I think you should buy Vi based on how effective that ability is, rather than how whether or not chrono filters in the set.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was a slight buff if like you're going double animus anyways, but how many like the sets where you would go like double animus for Vi before and now aren't vastly different in my opinion. Like,
And I don't think it's a slight buff even in those cases, because the one thing I really don't like about this new Vi is if both players want to get Vi, the player that gets it second can no longer go Vi
Rhino.
plus Rhino.
Yeah.
So if you're not prepared in advance, you're gonna take, like if Wall is your only absorber, your opponent's Vi basically just does an extra damage
Yeah.
and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of rushing it, I guess it's a slight buff because like
True.
before you couldn't really spend the fourth red anyways. But yeah, no, I don't think it's like necessarily like a buff at all, or in like how often it gets purchased with like double animus, because like you wouldn't go double animus into Vi if there wasn't other red supporting units that like made double animus at least okay, right?
Or if the freeze is just that good.
Yeah, or if the freeze was like literally just 7 every turn.
Yeah.
So I really like this change because Chrono Vi was just
Yeah.
Free.
yeah.
Good change.
Made you want to pull your hair out.
Good change. I approve.
So now we get to go on
The
to
new units.
new unit.
Yeah.
We already kind of talked about Deadeye, so I don't know if we need to revisit it. But we kind of glazed over Manticore. So I mean, does anybody have any thoughts to add around Manticore?
It's interesting. It's pretty strong when you buy it first. Like, I think if you're
Yeah.
never going to click it, it's not that great of a unit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really strong if you already have the steel splitter. But if you have to buy the steel splitter for it, then it's
yeah. It's
less good.
it's really good in like sets where like you essentially like natural blast forge into steel splitter because you're not buying wall versus 0 damage, and then you're going into multiple blast forges anyways for other units, and then you just like, hey, I can go Manticore now, right? And it's like really flexible. I like it. Like sometimes you go into like Omega splitters or something, and it's just like, well, I have like an Omega splitter that I want to leave back, and they have like an Omega splitter that they're leaving back. Let me just click this Manticore, right? I like the design. It's a fun unit. It's not like oppressive. It's not too weak either. It's just decent design. I like it. I don't think
It
there's
could
much
probably
else
be
to talk
pretty
about
player one favoring, I think.
it. Really.
I think so.
But you can't like. Do you really like go for it as a strategy?
If there's a big absorber, probably, yeah.
I guess.
I can see it being pretty player one favoring because it builds off the steel splitter.
Yeah,
so,
the one steel splitter that you have, that's true.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
But
we
like
haven't
if you
really gotten to
rush
play with it
out,
that much.
Yeah, you don't really.
You're not going to
out
rush it,
Manticore
no.
stuff.
But it's just like the high econ blast forge opening from player one is a lot better than the one from player two.
Yeah, that's. I mean, but that's
sure.
the case with like any big blue unit, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't necessarily a big blue unit, so yeah, probably less
Yeah,
of a
you could-
problem
You
as
could
like.
rush it.
Yeah.
So maybe player two has some counterplay by rushing it in.
Yeah, Xeno and Zamora got changed as well. Those are not the
Yeah.
new units, but they got changed as well. How's the new Xeno? I haven't played with it yet. I mean, I haven't played with like any of the new units.
I mean,
yet.
you kind of
I
need
like
a
this
set
change.
that. I mean, okay, so I have a question about the new Xeno. Are you going to invest in double Blast Forge if there's no double blue units for
Sometimes.
Xeno Guardian?
Yeah, Xeno's that good.
Yeah, it
So-
depends if what attack is in the set.
And
Like-
then my next question is
Do you
that
buy more
are
than
you
one?
going to then use it as are you then going to use Xeno because it's so cheap as a blue sync because you definitely don't want to be buying steel splitters?
Yeah.
I think that
We do
does
that too.
happen.
Yeah.
So I
The
mean,
thing is, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where it's like, do I go double blast forge with no blue sync for the Xeno, which is a blue sync?
yeah, but again, it's a blue sync you want to protect, but you can't protect it if you don't choose to build walls, right? So
You don't.
it,
No, you can just buy it and sack it the next turn. It's fine.
so
It
just
actually
like
got a buff
it
as
just
an
becomes
attacker.
Yeah.
a five blue
Yeah.
blue force soak pixie.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You
So-
you pay blue green for a
Pixie.
damage
Yeah.
compared
It's
to an
not
infusion grid.
amazing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like okay.
So, but if that's the case, then it really does change the function of, of like the ways Guardians used now becomes significantly different than the way it was
Yeah.
used.
You buy
Yeah.
multiples of them a lot more often, which is
Doesn't
probably
it
a good
get
change.
closer to like the old Xeno? Because I know the old Xeno, you would still buy like multiple Xenos.
I mean,
Right.
again,
Not that many, but you could still sometimes just buy multiple Xenos. I guess it isn't as big of like it wasn't as big because like it was much easier to like spend one blue and one green, whereas now it's like you have to spend two blue and a green instead of like a Xeno, right? So I guess it just pushes it forward into like
Yeah.
buy more Xenos.
But the main thing is that this should decrease player advantage because player
Yeah.
2 doesn't have the supernatural lines. You actually have to commit to doing it.
Yeah.
You don't just get it because your opening gives it to you for free.
I'm
So
not sure if it's worse or better versus like rushes. It does come in a turn earlier, but you get it later because you have to go double blast forge and conduit, right?
You're
So-
getting it at least one turn later. So
Well, the thing is,
It depends.
you can literally get it on the same turn, right? Drone
Yeah,
drone
you
conduit,
Wait.
probably get it on the same turn.
blast forge, drone drone, then you can just get blast forge and buy it, right?
Alright,
And
if you
instead of
cut
the one
drones-
build time, you just buy the second blast forge instead of the Xeno, right?
Yeah.
oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Or if you cut drones, then you can get it earlier. So it's interesting. I love that there's actually like I think there's more thought to put into the Xeno Guardian lines now rather than before. Like way more thought can be put into it.
Yeah, you don't just rush it as fast as possible because the second blue isn't very good if you rush it usually.
Yeah.
So it's more of a timing thing, and yeah, it's a lot better now.
I mean, it becomes a pretty easy buy with certain units. I mean, any other double blue unit in the set, and
Hey, yo, Drake.
and Steel Forge, of course, makes it probably easier to purchase. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh well, Zamora change, big change.
I don't even know what the timings are on this unit anymore. Well, I mean, I know what the timings are, but I don't know what the correct and good timings
Well, with
are on
Doom
this
Drone,
unit.
you go like drone conduit, then you go like Doom Drone conduit, and then you buy Zamora, and then you win the game,
you're talking,
right?
You're talking about the Wise the back-to-back Wise
Yeah,
games.
we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but yeah. Pretty strong.
I mean, poor Wise
Wow,
has
that's
been in
really strong.
chat this
Yeah, that's really
time.
strong.
They're going to talk about Masters League. He said it at least 10 times so far in chat. It's been quite entertaining watching.
We'll get to
him
it
score.
next.
We'll get to it soon. But
But like, despite the openings, like just disregarding those for a second, I think it really does need to cost 8 green to fire because it's just too easy to fire at 7 green, and
definitely agree.
yeah, it was just I was buying it almost every game. So,
Yeah.
Seven green cost Zamora was just.
yeah.
It was
You can't
so
rush it down
easy
at
to
that point.
fire. It was just so easy to fire because getting like one less conduit was just huge, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was a huge deal.
So
And I think I
I'm
want
happy
to
they're back to 8, but
Yeah.
I wonder how like the openings are gonna play out from now on. Like,
I think the openings are more balanced in general, and like there's probably a better argument for going higher econ with it because if you have to get 2 conduits to get
Yeah.
it really early. If you're getting 2 conduits really early, then that's not contributing to your econ right away.
I'm
So
assuming that
that
it's
is a
still
disadvantage.
gonna be really strong with Trinity Drone. Like, rushing
Yeah,
it really fast with Trinity Drone in the
I'm
set.
sure.
yeah. With a
So
green sync like Cluster Bullet Trinity Revenge, then it's not going to change that much.
Yeah,
But if it's like a
also
Centurion Zamora set, that could change it a lot.
that
so
should be fun.
the other unit, of course, that Gauss Fabricator works very nicely with the natural player 2 line. So if you just drone conduit into conduit drone
Conduit. Yeah.
drone or whatever it is that you can pull off, you can then go Zamora double drone into
You actually
what
can't go somewhere double drone. You have like
Yeah, player two can't get a double
two
drone with
gold,
this.
or
two
maybe oh
little
no, it's player 1 that can do
drone,
that. It
drone,
actually
drone
makes it really
conduit,
interesting
drone,
for
drone
player
conduit.
1 to go turn 2. That's what it is. Turn 2 conduit from player 1 becomes very interesting if Fabricator's in the set.
Yeah.
So it works out nicely as player 1 if Fabricator's in the set.
I'm thinking of is like say a opening of like say for turn 1 as player 2 you would go like drone conduit into just drone 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 Zamora drone drone, right? Where you still get it off of
Can't,
one.
well, player
Okay.
1 you can't do that.
Yeah, with player 1 you can, with player 2 you can.
Yeah, with player 2 you can.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I wonder if that opening is going to be like good because like you get Zamora a turn later, right? Than the previous two Zamoras, but you just gain like what 2 drones I think. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. This Zamora is probably like way worse versus rushes than both Zamoras so far I think.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
But it's probably gonna be more balanced in terms of like players.
Yeah, I think
right?
so. I think this is the best Zamora so far in terms of balance.
Yeah.
So
And then
now
Last
we have
3 units. Like
Yeah.
okay, the new units. Arms Race, Colossus, Oxide Mixer, and they're all bad. Great.
all bad.
Colossus
Great.
is not bad.
Colossus is
Some
not
people.
bad, but clunky, right? It's hard to get Colossus to work well, right? That's all I've heard about it essentially. It's like okay in the perfect scenario, but you just don't get the perfect scenario.
I think hard to use is
yeah.
a good thing for any
Yeah,
Prismata
no, I
unit.
definitely agree
almost.
though. I like the thing is I like the design of all 3 units. I think they're all fun units. I think they belong in Prismata. Like it's not like they're just like why would you put this Prismata like unit into Prismata? But they all do seem on like the weak side compared to the units we already have, right?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a nice change
Yeah.
compared to
Yeah,
like
I know, 'cause
historically
every
when
other-
units are
every other
added, we
time-
have like Windsor,
Yeah.
when Windsor was
There-
first added.
or Thunderhead, or
Yeah.
it actually
No.
is quite refreshing that we
I-
got
I-
three
I
units
agree.
and
I agree.
none of them are OP.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually a good sign. Like the new units are released and they're actually fairly balanced.
Yeah.
Uh,
So-
Maybe like one effect could be that they're new, so we haven't like learned how to use them perfectly, so we could think they're weak even if they're
Yeah.
just normal.
Yeah.
Like if Ossified was just added, we'd think, oh, this unit's terrible.
yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas it's
Maybe.
actually pretty
So-
good.
Or
Yeah.
Shiver Yeti, maybe.
Shiver
Shiver
Yeti.
Shiver Yeti just hasn't changed, but people's opinion of it keeps going up and up.
Yeah, it's like, damn, Shiver is the best
All I
unit
know
in the
is
game.
Sometimes
that-
it's game break.
all I know is that if there's only one big absorber, investing in Shiver Yetis to freeze that one big absorber feels good. That's
It
all I
does.
know. I mean,
If you're
that's-
on red anyway, I think.
Yeah,
Shiver Yeti has a lot of different uses.
it does.
yeah, Shiver Yeti freezes
Shiver
those
Yeti
annoying Grim
does.
Botches.
Like, okay,
It can
Shiver
freeze.
Yeti does become better
Duke
as
drones.
more doomed units get added into this
Yeah.
game. So
I mean, it's
Shiver
also
Yeti
good.
really wasn't that good.
Yeah,
way,
but
way,
it's-
way, way back.
Shiver Yeti hasn't been changed, so let's get back
Yeah.
to the new units.
But
On Colossus, I really like this unit. It's really fun to play with, and I think it's better than people say it is. I think it can define a set like Omega can, in the same way that Omega does, but it plays out a bit differently. And I like that it's 3-color,
Yeah.
just because you have a lot more options when you're going 3-color, rather than big investment into one tech. So I really like it, and the same for Arms Race. I like that it's 3-color as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely like the design of the units. I like the big feral warden that's not prompt, essentially. It's a fun unit. I want to learn how to play with it, because,
How
yeah,
much? I
it's a
have a
fun
question.
unit.
How much would this unit have to cost if it was prompt? Just out of curiosity, like just gold cost. You can't change anything else. You can only change gold cost. How much would Colossus need to cost if it was prompt?
Like 19 or
I don't even
But
think that's enough. I
probably
think it needs
higher
to be
than
more
that.
than that.
Yeah, at least 20. At least 20 gold.
you
I think.
think?
Well, I mean, it's 3
Probably
damage,
more.
guys.
Probably
good.
Three
more.
damage.
It's so good,
It's not
bro.
just like so.
Yeah,
so
that's
not
true.
only
That's
does it
true. Very
defend
true.
for 8.
I mean,
it's
it depends.
freaking damage.
Do you want it to be as strong as Centurion, or do you want it to be as strong as a Mega Splitter? That's
I'm just
that's
saying.
what I
Like,
gotta ask you if you want to.
I think make it like 22 or 23 gold.
Yeah.
on
yeah, I
second
think it would
thought.
have to be like almost all your gold. You would have to have not made a single force field for you to be able to afford to put out. Like, if you could put out 4 of these,
Back to back to back
to back,
back.
and each
Oh
time
my.
it absorbs for 8, it would be
7.
ridiculous. Or, well, yeah, 7, yeah, correct.
The thing is, you probably wouldn't be able to, because the gold cost would be so high that you can't buy other defenders. So first you have to wait for your opponent to hit 7 damage for
That's
it
what
to be
Steel
like,
Splitters are for, man.
yeah.
So just start sacking your other things so that you can get out more
Yeah.
Colossus.
It's just
Yeah.
like, I think like it really is clunky though. Like, you need to wait for your opponent to have 7 damage for it to be good to be left back on D, and then
Yeah.
like after
So
they
you can
hit
buy-
like
you can
way
buy it
above
before that.
7, you can't like buy it anymore. So it's like you're buying them before you leave them back on defense, and then you leave them back on defense. So it's kind of like weird in how you use it, but I like it. I really like the design. It's a fun unit. I think that the same thing can like apply to Arms Race, where it's like it's not really obvious like when you should buy it. I think. I mean, okay, it's kind of obvious really early in the game, but like you don't really want to be rushing Conduit Blast for Genomus, then buying Arms Races
Uh-huh.
just because it's like early in the game. Like it's not like you're gonna be like, oh, this is a third NG all your drone set. Let me rush Arms Race because inflation is so low. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
I mean,
unit. It's a unit.
there's obviously a pretty good timing at like 12 drones where you can go Arms Race Tarsier,
Yeah.
or 13 drones where you can go Arms Race Tarsier and then transition into like Wall Tarsier or something like that. It's the way I describe it is it's like Tarsier but more Tarsier than Tarsier.
More Tarsier than Tarsier. Nice.
And that's I think it's actually a really good way to think about it. So if you want to know what Arms Race is, it's just like it's like Tarsier but more Tarsier than Tarsier. And that means that if you buy it too late, you're going to get even more punished for buying it too late. So
Yeah.
yeah, with an emphasis on that part of
So
it.
do you think that you would never buy 4 Arms Races?
Almost never.
No, you could buy 4 Arms Races, I think, totally. It'd be a
What,
high
like-
cut game. Like
Yeah.
Against
you're buying
Energy
20
Matrix or against any of the 5 or larger?
Yeah.
Well, 4
Yeah, the
absorb
big
or higher
absorbers.
units.
Yeah, you can totally buy.
If you can buy 10 Tarsiers, there's no reason you can't buy
Yeah.
4
No,
more
that's-
Tarsiers.
That's definitely. Yeah.
So
I like this unit. Like the one, like the super fun thing about this unit is like buying it after your opponent antimas. After your
Just
opponent
makes
antimas.
them
At
feel
that
bad.
point, it's just
Makes
like,
them feel bad.
Yeah, it's kind of nice too because like you had to threaten Antima so that they couldn't get a better Antima, and now you have all this tech and you can spend all of it. So
yeah.
it's a pretty cool counter to Antima.
Yeah, I really like it. But then on the other hand, there's like you really want to be buying it early in the game, but like you can't buy it if your opponent hasn't purchased Antima. So it's kind of fun because it like forces Antima to be purchased early, but then you don't want to be purchasing Antima because it gives your opponent the option to go Arms Races after your Antima, right? So it's such a cool dynamic in my opinion. Maybe it's not as big impact as I'm imagining it is, but I think it's still a cool mechanic. So yeah. And then like probably like just so like the most vanilla unit ever. It's like Oxide Mixer.
I mean, blue needed
Eh,
another sink, guys. Like it needed something to dump blue into.
well,
So it
essentially
has,
only had Pink, Pixie, and Steel for so far, right?
yeah, yeah. So I
I
mean,
think I think this could probably go to 5 lifespan. It seems quite weak. The
Yes.
only time you would buy it is like if you're wasting the blue,
Yeah,
or if the only alternative is Steel Splitter or something.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I would kind of like to see Pixie strategies be a slightly stronger.
I think Lunar doesn't really want Pixie strategies to be too strong. That's why they also limited Termite Core rather than Aurite Core. Uh, Whereas, like, efficiency-wise, Aurite is actually better, but
Sometimes,
Termite,
yeah.
yeah, but
Well, I
Termite,
mean
that's like
that's
the,
just because you can't have infinite units on the screen.
yeah, oh yeah, that's actually true. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, Pixie strategies in general are kind of like annoying because there's just so much stuff on the screen. Because when you have like 80 pixies on the screen, it just like becomes
Yeah,
horrible to
it's
play.
pretty hard
Yeah.
to play those games.
So I think it's fine that they're kind of limiting it, but yeah, I'm also I think like 5 lifespan would be fine. Do you think like a buff where it comes with a pixie would be too strong? Um,
Yeah, I think so.
would be too strong. Well, how about like no? I guess if you raise its gold cost and like add a pixie, then like yes, it becomes stronger, but it becomes less of a sink. Um, so I wouldn't like to see that change. I wouldn't. Um, I think the unit is fine. It could be a bit stronger. I don't know. I like the design. There's not much else to think about here. The one thing I guess people like don't consider is like, oh yeah, Pixie 1 damage, right? Whereas often if like comboed with like either cryo rays or if your opponent isn't being careful, the Pixie can turn into like 2 damage, right? Sometimes clicking the Pixie does 2 damage, whereas it doesn't do just one. So Oxide Mixer could potentially be producing actually 8 damage, not 4, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's usually due to your opponent making a mistake.
That's true. That's true. Definitely. But
But if that doesn't happen, your opponent probably has to inconvenience themselves a
yes,
little bit.
by buying more engineers than they really want to, because like instead of buying Aegis, which is really efficient, they're buying like engineers and walls, which are less
Yeah.
so. So
Yeah,
there
there's
is
a bit of extra value there.
yes, there's like hidden value which isn't just like straight up in math, right? Um, which I think people just are either missing. I'm not sure. Like I don't think anybody's ever like said that yet. Except me, I am like the best player here, obviously. No, but yeah, no. Talking about best players, Masters League, yo.
Yo, before we talk about like the results, let's welcome in the new players
Oh,
because
okay, sure.
let's start there. Let's start there by welcoming the new crop of people into Masters, just to like make that special someone who won. Wait a little bit longer for the satisfaction because I can't tell you how much I've been enjoying the Twitch chat tonight, and this one particular individual who we haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to, who happens to have won a lot of major tournaments, keeps whining in the chat over and over and over again, and it's been fun. No, but I think so. I'm not. I did not try to qualify again because reasons.
Reasons.
But it is nice to see Hathro, who probably should have had my spot last season in Masters League, in there, and then we have Game King. Makwander and Fufi.
As I think those are the 4 that have never been in Masters League before. And like the other 2 players that qualified were Yampy Dampy and Lightning. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
Lightning.
Yeah,
Lightning
nice job.
has been on break for 1 Masters League, and Yampy Dampy was in the previous one, or in this one, I guess. So yeah, 6, I guess 5 new faces compared to this Masters League, and Yampy Dampy the only one returning as from qualifiers.
From the qualifiers.
Yes. It's gonna be a fun Masters League. I think the format is staying extremely similar. I think the only difference is essentially just going to be in terms of how the top seeds and playoff spots works. I'm not exactly sure what the change is, but there is a change there. Instead of like playing games, you just get a bye. Yeah, I think instead of like being placed into the winners bracket or the upper bracket for being like the first seed or whatever, you just get a bye. So that's gonna be the change as far as the
Yeah.
format is concerned, I think.
I think that's a really good change. Like
Yeah.
getting top four automatically, as opposed to having to play. How many games did I play? Like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm not
That I had to
sure.
win all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more consistent with like performance and the difference in performance in the group stages to your reward in the playoffs.
Yes.
Sounds good to me. I
But-
obviously didn't play last season, but
I think like this format compared to like the previous formats of Masters League, the two group stages compared to one is like extremely good. I was like with the one group stage because it was literally just like 6 weeks of playing the same people, and it got a bit like boring, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's actually like two different groups, like completely different players, and it's a lot more fun because like the whole group dynamic changes as well.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot more.
And if you somehow get put into a group of death,
Yeah.
then you might
Now
not,
you actually have a chance of
into it.
actually getting out of it
yeah,
because you can get put into like a group of life, right?
Like
So
like maybe someone who got number 1 seed and then just did nothing to stand in the way of the person who has now won like every tournament all the time.
No,
Mr.
okay.
Wise
We were
Guy,
talking about-
congratulations! Let's give him a round of applause.
wow, the only
So
one
both-
applauding.
alright, sorry.
I would
Since
actually-
both of my teammates laid down and let him bulldoze them.
See, I'm too salty to applause, you know.
Oh, you're stupid.
No.
So-
Actually,
Regarding
wanna say
like
something.
yeah, okay, let me go ahead.
Yeah, just since we were talking about that at the top four, I think Wise played extremely well. Like I didn't see any major mistakes, or like really any obvious small mistakes either. So I think it was really good play by him.
Yeah.
I think it was actually better games than I've seen in previous Master Leagues.
Yeah,
Very-
it definitely
very-
like he played his heart out. He played really well. Definitely like deserved it. But I was gonna say that I think like the real finals were always going to be the semifinals, no matter what, because I gave myself like
excuses.
No.
He's gonna
No, no,
use
no.
this as a
Already coming.
platform for
that's not an
excuses.
excuse. I'm saying I'm not good enough. How is that an excuse? I don't like if I was saying like, oh yeah, I was like feeling hungry, but if I'm just saying I'm not good enough, then I don't
And it-
consider that an excuse.
It sounds
So-
a bit like an excuse for not practicing to me.
Yeah,
But-
Really?
you had
No,
every
no.
opportunity
I
to
just
spend some
wasn't
time
good
being
enough.
better.
Like I just wasn't good enough. Like there's nothing else I can say about that. It doesn't matter why I wasn't good enough, but I wasn't. The thing is, I like going into that finals. I was like, I have a 20% chance to win the whole thing. Maybe. It turned out I had a 20% chance to win a game. So,
Win each game.
5 games, I won 1. You know, I was pretty close.
Don't you think having that mental attitude does something to your play, though?
I don't think
That's
so. Like,
It definitely
no,
does
no,
for
it
me.
definitely does. It like the mental, like if you go into it thinking I am going to win, you're definitely gonna play better than if you're going into it thinking I'm gonna lose. Definitely, like definitely. But I just kind of didn't care. Like my chances of winning were low. I knew I wasn't good enough to face Llama, Lecto, or like Wise Guy, right? And so I was just fairly sure that the semifinals were the finals, and then the Zamora games happened.
Oh, now don't give Patrick. Don't give
I haven't
Llama
actually-
excuses.
I haven't actually analyzed. I meant to analyze them, but I haven't analyzed the Zamora games, so I don't know how, like, if they were player advantage or if I had a better line.
You could have.
Yeah.
You could have. I mean, in the second game, you could have
I
potentially
analyzed it.
adjusted, and you didn't. You chose the same line as you did the previous game.
Oh yeah, the reason for that was because it was Zatron instead of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like very slightly different, but still,
Gaspad.
very similar sets. No, but yeah, Wise Guy came again, like just like previous Masters League. He came from like the bottom bracket, went from like quarters, semis, and then also won the winners, the finals. So yeah,
Yeah,
amazing
he was
performance.
sneaks in at the end.
Yeah, no,
So-
he has, but I don't think he had any dramatic come from behinds in this one where he was down like 3-1
No.
and came back to win a
He
series.
was, he was up 3-0 and then almost got reversed. So that was
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, like in the previous two wins.
Imagine the story: Electo reverse sweeps to victory. Like all three series reverse sweeps. Imagine the story.
And I had
yeah.
my money on Electo, but he let me down. Yeah, such a disappointment. I'm kidding, of course, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He played really well in those 3 games where he put it back. I was impressed.
So yeah, I mean it was again Wise just showing that very very calm under pressure, and
yeah, he has a
he
lot of
obviously
tournament
doesn't take
experience,
ladder
right?
very seriously because he time and time again is proving that he's that he's extremely competent when it comes to a competitive Prismata. So
Yeah. Yeah, the prizes though. Yay for prizes. Shadowfang skins, yo.
I'm
Yes.
so jealous. Too bad Shadowfang will
Oh,
never
yeah.
get bought anymore.
Yeah, too bad Shadowfang never gets bought. See, I just can't wait for the next patch, right? Or like, I'm assuming next patch is gonna have all the skins, and I've been waiting
With
for
the
blue
space
glow.
skins.
Well, I've been waiting for blue glow skins for so long.
hey,
I
I like the new
just-
space skins. We haven't talked about those. Those are pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, space skins, but blue glow skins are better. It doesn't matter. I've just been waiting for them for like half a year now because I knew they're already like done, but Lunar just hasn't released them yet. And I'm just like
They gotta
waiting,
save
saving
some.
my 17 black cards or more or whatever, and it's just like, okay, I'll get those skins. But yeah, awesome that there are actually like cool prizes for Masters League. I think it completely depends on Lunark if they're going to be for this one as well. I'm not sure if it's confirmed yet. But yeah, that's gonna be fun. Another tournament or tournaments that are going to be happen. Lord of the Swarms is coming back. Lightning is gonna be leading it now. Yeah, so Lightning won't sadly be able to play in them, but he is gonna be hosting them. So that's gonna be fun. Apuch is still the champion, right? Or like the
Oh god, Apucci has been
the
so
Lord.
cocky in team chat. Somebody needs to beat him. Just
somebody needs
beat
to beat him.
Apucci, please.
Hey Llama, you wanna play
How
in
long
this
has he
one
been
this
on
time?
top now, guys?
He's
it's
he's
like
defended his
4
title
weeks.
4 times.
Yeah.
He's defended it 4 times, but technically, I mean, how long has he been the champ? If we're looking at it as far as number of weeks,
Oh, including the
Including the
Off
pauses,
time?
Number
the
of
off
weeks?
time.
he's essentially been Lord of the Swarms champion for
he
100.
won on December 5th, 2015. So
Damn.
almost
Cool
3
time.
months.
Almost 3 months of being Lord of the Swarms.
But
So
yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
when
that's
is the
gonna be
first
fun.
event?
It's this weekend.
This
Uh,
Saturday,
yeah.
11 a.m. Pacific, which I think is 1700
Yeah. think so.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Wait. What did you say? 11.
I said Pacific, so it's 2 p.m. Eastern, which is
That's 6 hours later, so it's.
yeah, only for Crash. The only thing that matters for
No,
Crash
it would
is
be
schedule.
it would be 8 p.m. CET or 7 p.m. MT.
So,
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's right.
so,
Other than that, there's
are
like
well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you're inheriting it, prize system, everything's going to remain the same. Lightning.
Yep, I've confirmed it with Lunark. No changes in terms of prizes. Although one thing to mention, just in terms of the format, since Apucci has defended his title for 4 weeks, this time he actually starts down a game.
or
like,
no,
he-
doesn't he have to win 5 games essentially?
Right. It's
yeah,
like a best of 9 where he starts down a game.
yeah. Oh yeah, I
um,
guess best of 9 starts on the game. That's a good way.
Like, if
that's an
there's
easy
a
way of
time to
thinking about it.
dethrone him, it's now.
It's not. Or I mean, at 10 weeks, it's gonna be even harder, right? So you could do it in 10 weeks in time, because then like he has to win like 9 games, right? I only need to win 4. It's probably
But then
or
you have
we need to win.
to get the jackpot. You'll have to win like
Oof.
that many weeks in a row.
Damn, that's true. But yeah, other than that though, there's like a few small things left, I guess. This event that's happening like today, and
I love it. It was a great event.
I've
Yeah,
played
it was really fun.
one game of it. I want to play more. It seems super fun, and it's super weird because like some units just become like insane, whereas others are just like worse versions. Like for Blue Tarset, it's like oh god. So it's a really fun event.
But I mean, but that 6G steel splitter feels pretty good.
I mean,
So
6 steel splitters, okay. It's not
Yeah.
amazing. It's not pretty bad though.
Yeah.
The thing that feels good is
how,
like
how about that wall that you can buy with the green? Now that's
Or with the red.
or with a
Oh.
red, yeah.
goodness.
You know, like BRR Shadowfang, that's pretty good as long as you actually have walls available as well. There's a lot of fun things that can happen, like green Odins or green Lucina. You don't have to go like double animus for it, right?
Yeah, and I mean like blue, red Omega splitters are pretty crazy.
That that does sound pretty crazy. It is an event, I think. Like it's really
5
good.
blue Zatron. It's pretty true.
Yeah, pretty trash. Um, there's
Yeah,
been a
so-
lot of good events and a lot of bad ones as well, but this is definitely like one of the best.
Now can you
events so
imagine
far.
this event with the enhanced
Tech structures, like
yeah,
both of
enhanced
them
tech
together.
structures
Oh
in
god!
this unit
Wow.
or this event together combo.
And then also add only legendaries.
So
But yeah, other than that, oh yeah, one thing that's kind of like meta or just like Prismata in general, it's like there's a Reddit thread that popped up like today, I think. It's about opening moves. Like it's just the Reddit thread is called opening moves, and it's essentially a new player asking like what are the openings that are good, and I think there's actually like for Prismata, it's like on one hand, obviously this is really important for Prismata. But on the other hand, is learning openings by heart actually just like good at all for your Prismata play, right? If you just like learn openings, like oh yeah, these are the openings that exist, and then like you just play the openings without thinking about it, is that actually better than like not knowing all of the openings but learning them very slowly? I think that's there's a really good point that Mr. Guy brings up in the comments, that essentially you should be thinking about your openings, not just copying them, right? And
Yeah, so
Yeah.
part of the reason why Prismata is designed the way it is so that you don't have to memorize openings.
yes,
And
Yeah.
you kind of, you're supposed to come up with them on the fly.
yeah, I mean, I think that a general guideline around openings is probably more beneficial to, to new players than straight openings. So, teaching them what to identify as far as what type of units can allow you to have high econ, right? So good absorb, good soak
Yeah.
means that you can probably get away with triple engineer unless there's hyper aggressive units. So maybe teaching those things are a little more beneficial than strictly teaching openings, but teaching openings
Yeah.
is important to an extent, because if someone doesn't, I know that all the openings I learned through playing against other people. I didn't like sit down and think about the game and be like, hey, this would be a good opening. No, it was from, grinding many games, right? So it's not bad to have the information out there,
Yeah.
but I think that understanding the mechanics of the game and understanding what units impact the decision on what you do with your economy is probably more beneficial conversation to have.
yeah, I definitely agree there. I think just a list of openings can be actually detrimental.
Detrimental.
What the whatever, it's a word.
It's okay. It'll just
to-
flow out the window like it never happened.
Float up.
Uh, but yeah, like it does kind of like slow the progress of how fast, like how good you're getting, right? In my opinion. So I think it's interesting in that regard, and I completely agree with Mr. Guy that instead of just like looking for openings or like what are the openings, thinking about them yourself, or like just not using any opening like and actually thinking about what do you want to do the following turns, and then like building off of that is actually way more useful in Prismata, because it helps you moving forward in the game as well, because obviously openings aren't the only thing that matter, right?
Yeah,
And
I totally agree.
if you get into like this habit of constantly thinking of what do I want to do like next turn or like in 2 turns, right? You start thinking of like, okay, so I will need a conduit the following turn so that in 2 turns I can go chieftain, so that on turn like 13 I'm going to have that chieftain come back and defend for me, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, other something that's similar along these veins of openings is drone counts, right?
yeah,
So another concept that could also be very helpful to newer players is, what are the sweet spots for different types of purchases, right? So how many drones do you want if you have X unit in a set? Those type of things also probably are, the more experienced players probably take it for granted, but knowing that you want to have, for example, 17 drones or 20 drones or whatever the case may be. Old Asteri, you had to have at least 21 drones, right? So that can also be something that segues off of this as far as a teaching tool for newer
no,
players.
definitely.
I actually think like how well Lunark develops the single player content.
Yeah.
Like Lunark needs to teach that through the campaign,
Yes.
because that's going to be a huge deal for helping new players feel like they can get better at the game.
Yeah.
Somewhat quickly.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see what they actually do with the campaign, because I know
Yeah,
they
I mean-
want to tell like a story as well as like introduce new players into like competitive or like multiplayer Prismata. So I can't wait to
I mean,
see
I
it.
want to play the campaign. I just want to play it,
Yeah, of course, I'll play it too.
I've like for the longest time loved strategy games. I've played a lot of strategy games where you play against a computer. I mean, it's having a campaign in the game, would be really, really nice, and especially because they could make it episodic. Down the road they could add campaign
Yeah,
content.
no,
right?
I think that is their plan on and is in
So,
like
so I would
adding
love
additional
to,
missions.
of course, the tutorial campaign, is necessary because it'll get players to understand some of these core concepts we're talking about. But I mean, just having a campaign, would be nice, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, there's a lot of room for like different levels of difficulty between like the current end of the campaign and say impending doom.
Mm-hmm.
You have quite a
I
lot
mean,
of
it's
room.
ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of room.
Going from Velcar hard to impending, it's like it's the stupidest thing ever. Like there's. Like, impending doom is ridiculous in comparison to anything else that's been released as far as puzzles are concerned on Prismata.
But yeah, I guess like last thing regarding like community stuff, happenings that have been going is, I guess, Prismata montage.
Oh, we
First one.
finally reached the self-promotion.
God.
We finally reached the shameless self-promotion. I actually don't know how you guys have liked it. I haven't heard like opinions from like. Okay, Llama,
I gave his opinion.
Yeah,
He
no, I've
was
heard
upset being
Llama's.
shit on the whole time.
No,
and-
no, no, he's happy. He's happy. He said this is the best
I
video.
helped him make it.
Yeah,
The-
he
I-
actually gave me an idea for like the last, no, the second to last clip. as to
Yeah,
how
no,
to make it.
I saw your earlier versions of this, and it was much more polished. The final product was a lot better than some of the earlier things I saw that you had worked on. How long have you spent on this project? Just out of curiosity, because
Okay,
I remember
so-
seeing the first version of this probably 3, 4, 6 months ago.
Something like I started working on it back then, but then like it essentially just like became extremely slow to like I just didn't have good didn't have good replays, and then I also didn't have a good idea of how to like continue it, right? I didn't have any like big idea. Okay, so the first three is like, okay, the windsurfing, like the like countdown, and like the zoom in into like the grenade mech with the arrows. Like all of those ideas I had in my mind, and I was like, I just had to execute them well. But then like going forward, it was just like I didn't know what else I can do, and I didn't want to like, just like repeat the same thing, because then it just becomes like one joke over and over and over and over again, and as a video that I don't think is good. I don't think it's interesting, because it's just like one joke repeated over and over. So essentially for like months of time in between, I just didn't work on it at all, because I was like waiting to like think of a good way to do it. And it's like I was waiting for like another replay to show up. And then like I was just like one point, like maybe 2 weeks ago or something, I was just like thinking of like, yeah, I really need to finish this video before it gets really too late, where like all the units are completely different. Like maybe Windsor doesn't exist anymore. And I was just like, okay, like I need to finish this. And I just like watched the video I had done, and I was just like, damn, I can do this, right? And just like an idea sparked in my mind, and it's like Llama like kind of like gave me this idea already for like the, you know, the venge cannons that pop up, and like the force fields on like the bottom side and whatnot. And it's like I went with that idea, finished it, and then I segued into like the replay that I literally just got like a previous day on like in Will's tournament, where like that plasma like the where you drafted your own set and then like played the other sets. And I was just
that was
like,
a really fun tournament, by the way.
yeah, it was a really fun
Yeah.
tournament.
That was a extreme. I think that type of tournament is extremely difficult. Actually, like that's probably the hardest format that's ever been put out there in a tournament, because it's not just
subjective how difficult it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you
It's
have
like
to,
a lot of the difficulty comes from like predicting what other players will do, essentially. Because if you predict that everybody's going to have a Shadowfang set, then all you need to do is make sets that don't lose to the Shadowfang set, and you win the whole tournament. And that's essentially what Llama did, essentially. Whereas if you kind of like are not sure that, like, if you're kind of sure that your Shadowfang set could like potentially beat every set out there, then you just roll with that Shadowfang set. Because it's really interesting, because all three of your sets need to win, right? So essentially your weakest set has to be better than their weakest set.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting because like constructed in Prismata, I think generally it would be pretty bad, but the way it's formatted so that all your decks have to win one makes it a lot better.
it makes it a lot better. But yeah, so that like the one game that I had there was just like, oh, this is actually a really good game for like a montage, because it's clear what happens, yet it's still fast-paced enough, right? Because a lot of Prismata games wouldn't fit into this, because it's like it's a 20-turn game that's like it's a lot of good decisions and a lot of good purchases, but
Yeah.
a 20 turn game lasts so long, and it kind of like the whole game is beautiful, but like small parts of it aren't like really good. And I think that's like the problem I had with finding good games for this, because like there's a lot of great games, like there are a lot of great Prismata games, but they are great as a whole rather than like a quick cut, right?
Yeah. Prismata is like, for spectating, it's the subtlety is the great part. It's not
Yeah,
like
it's not like one turn
it's
is
not
exciting.
in terms of, usually it's not like these grand moments where it's just like,
unless you buy Tia grenade mech on one turn and just wreck Llama's face, then it can be pretty freaking exciting.
yeah.
But yeah, that was like a thing that happened. Yeah, and seeing Elliot comment on that was just like, it was like the best thing. Like I felt so good reading that comment. I can't even explain it.
So did you dodge the question, or was I not paying attention? How many hours did you spend?
Oh,
on
I never finished it, but yeah, the editing time essentially, like, it was 20 hours plus easily, I
My
think.
goodness, and how long is the video?
Like 2 minutes. The thing, like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
10 seconds.
So
I
an
think
hour
it's around. I think it's around 20 hours, maybe a bit more. A lot of that time I also still
Goodness
spent like
gracious,
learning how to do things though.
So an hour
It's
per
totally
10
reasonable
seconds?
if you're learning the software.
Yeah, like I had a lot of it like already figured out, but some of like like say the spinning thing, like the spinning attack thingy that was in it, right? I didn't know how to do that at all, and I probably spent like an hour or more just trying to make it look okay. So that was like a part, and then like I spent a lot of time syncing the audio and the video. That was like like if you actually look at my in progress.
What is the soundtrack actually? What is that music?
It's a song from I forgot the author's name, but like it's a song from the OST for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's right.
Too
I was
Good,
pretty
Too
sure it was
Bad.
from Cowboy.
The song's name is Too Good, Too Bad. It's like a really, really good song. I loved it. And I was just like, I want something fast-paced. I was like, I really like this song. So I was just like, let's make a montage on this song as a platform. But yeah, if you actually look at like the in progress work, like on the video, you're gonna see so many lines like this of velocity, of me just changing the speed of the clip just to make it like perfect, right? Because I was trying to sync, you know, the beat with what's happening on the video, and to find the perfect time for all of that that was probably where I spent most of my time, just like doing that.
Sounds tough.
So
yeah.
do you think you could do the next one in half the time now, or no?
Half the time is a bit rough, but I could probably do it like 2/3 of the time, probably.
Okay, so we can expect more 2-minute
Oh
videos.
God,
that are
no!
13
God, no!
13-hour
God,
investments
no.
of your time.
God,
One per
no.
week, Crash. That's your commitment.
There's not enough
I
Prismata
think there
games
needs to
played
be
per
at
week.
least one montage to talk about for every podcast we did. I think that's only reasonable since we spent the last, I don't know, 20 minutes of this podcast talking about your montage. I think that
It
you
wasn't
owe it to
nearly
We
me.
should
20
probably wrap
minutes.
it up.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
that was literally the last topic we had to discuss.
but thank you, Lightning, for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Yeah,
It was fun.
It's fun.
And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, this is all gonna be on YouTube if you wanna rewatch it or if you missed anything. But yeah, that's it for us. We're signing off now. And goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for
Goodbye.
stopping by.
Yep. See everyone.